Chalo, I think this should be working fine now. I'm just going to quickly do a check. Let me know if things are working fine. I'll do the check on my end. Seems to be working fine. Okay, let's quickly get started with things. Let's do the quick check. Batao, am I clearly audible to all of you? Give me the quick check and then we can start with this. Quick +1 if things are audible, I am visible, and I think screen shouldn't be, but I'll present that in a short while. Okay. Hanji, how did the contest and stuff go? So I think in the first day of the camp, we gave you the treatment I give to everyone in general. Okay. This is something we call as throwing in the water, right? We haven't prepared anything, but I just asked people to give the contest because even though you are in a, like, let's say course, or if you are in this training that we are going through right now, the camp, and you will be like taught everything that you need, but then it's very important to like start at the place where everyone, like me, Abhishek, everybody else has started. We were thrown at the contest, was not able to solve anything, and then we decide, then you have a choice. Yeah, this is hard, I want to flee off, or this is something I want to learn more about. People who are gonna stay are the people who are gonna stay for till the end. Who are gonna leave are anyways we're gonna leave in between. So that is just my way of filtering off people. कि यार जो लोग को रहना है, those people who are gonna stay over here are now going to be here and not. Okay. Yeah, class YouTube पे होगी क्या? No. So I think all of you guys had asked me. The first week will be on YouTube till Tuesday, and from next Thursday onwards, every class will be on Zoom. Because that is how it will be for every class, right? So the first week is on YouTube. Rest everything is on Zoom. Okay. How many questions were you guys able to solve? Quick, just throw it in the chat on YouTube chat once. Yes. I think let's use the YouTube chat only. Like I'll take questions on the live session chat Slack group. I think you guys would be a part of that. कितने questions हुए थे? 0, 3. Perfect, fine. I think I had shared my screenshot for the first time, right? Like मैंने जब first time दिया था. So like how many I was able to do? I was able to do only one problem in my first contest. And it's fine, yeah. Everybody starts somewhere, and then eventually it doesn't matter. I think I have already talked about this in the camp. You see, I've seen the graph, right? Oh, either upper where you are right now, it doesn't really matter once you reach the 2100 level eventually, right? So that is something it will take time, but will eventually reach there. And then like whether we were able to solve 0 or 4 today doesn't really matter. You have your own battle and you have to fight from there. Okay. मैं वेबसाइट पे एक्सपी कैसे गेन करते हैं अभी नहीं कर सकते. Okay, let's get started. So today we'll talk a little bit about like OJs and stuff. I think some of you found it a little hard how to navigate around code forces, how to like generally solve a problem. So we will get some very, very basic understanding today. But I feel even though this is all fundamentals, many of you don't have full clarity about all these things. Here, how does these things actually work behind the things, right? Okay. Okay. How many classes in 1 week? We'll have 3 to 4 classes at the start. So tomorrow there is another one which Abhishek will take, and then we'll also have another one on Tuesday which I'll take, and then we'll move to shift to Zoom. ठीक है? ये सब चीज तो stats added ही है. Anyways, I'll just quickly present my screen. Let me do that. ठीक है? So anyways, you would have been getting like all the updates, right? Ki daily, like the target for today was day 3 content on the platform and this. So this is all going to be there. Yeah. So we will have mentor sessions also from the next weekend onwards, right? First weekend we start to let's start learning something, and then we'll have mentor sessions, right? Okay, cool. Chalo, let's I think get started. So all of you I think gave the contest on code forces, and like we kind of saw some questions, 0, 1, I don't care about how many questions, but you at least saw what kind of questions come up, right? कि अच्छा there is some question given to you to be solved in certain time limit, solve it in any way possible. If you cannot solve it, maybe after the contest you learn about it, right? So I'll actually start talking about a little bit on OJs first, and then we will move towards learning C++, right? Because all these things that we are learning is relevant only because we are trying to solve questions on a OJ, right? So let's understand that. So all of you guys, I think, participated in Div 3, and like let's take the first problem. So in contest, you generally have these setup of questions, right? And like you want to solve as many problems as possible. So in a problem, I think we discussed about this in the first class, that there are input, output and stuff. So essentially what is happening is, this is called an online judge, OJ, right? The online judge is going to give you an input, and you have to write a code that produces this output. Fundamentally that is what we are doing, right? Now in general, you can use any language, but you might have seen already the title, it's C for C++. Why we recommend C++? There are plenty of reasons for it. Majority of them is regarding like mass adoption. Okay? Generally, why certain language is used for certain things is because the community is majority in that particular language, right? In majority is there, because 70 to 80% of competitive programmers are going to do competitive programming in C++. At the beginner stage, you will find resources for everything. In Java also, in Python also, you'll find resources around and how to do competitive programming. But then as you grow till medium level, hard level and stuff, you'll start seeing resources only in C++, right? Majority of them. You can do it in any language, but then I have seen like also incidents where things were not tested in online assessments, in coding tests, in like the different competitions that happens even in ICPC. I have seen problems not having correct multipliers to allow Python codes to pass, not having correct test cases to be read properly by Python, things like this. So you don't want to like throw yourself in such a situation, right? So it's best to be using the language that every problem creator will use to create the problem. Okay? And you can then like solve every problem in that. It's like one problem, one language for this. Anyways, languages don't matter over time, but then at the start it's going to be very relevant, because you need to master two languages in your college years. In when you, if you are in a college right now, one for doing DSA and CP, one for doing some dev or whatever others like project building stuff you are doing, right, in general. So I think C++ is the best investment that you can possibly do. Plus majority of colleges in India starts with C in their first year, so it's much easier to go from there onwards, right? It's easy to switch from C to C++, right? Acha, how many of you have clear understanding, perfectly clear understanding how does a OJ work? Not like input aaya, output aaya, right? You submit your code, what happens after that? Do you have a clear understanding about it? Quick +1 or -1. कि exactly क्या होता है? What exactly happens with your code? Do you have a clear understanding about it? Quick +1 or -1. Let's see. Because that is super important. If you don't have clear understanding, then it will not make much of sense. No, I expected a lot of no's. Okay. It's not, I think this is something that not a lot of people talk about. Ki actually hota kya hai? What is happening behind the scenes, isn't it? Because you need to be clear about it, right? So let's quickly understand that, because it will be crucial, because you're going to write codes to solve and you need to solve questions on OJs. So how does OJ works? Basically 101, right? Fundamentals of that. Super important. Let's quickly set up the drawing pad. Yep. Okay, great. Chalo. Give a system design of this. It's just basic system. You don't need to know anything much about hosting OJ. I only had hosted it, so I'll give you maybe later on. We'll have these sessions at the end. How does problem setting happens? How does actually algorithms OJ work and stuff? I'll give you the design and stuff. No problem. Okay, I'll give you code also. The container maybe. Chalo, let's see. So generally, when you have a problem, right? The what is a question? What is a problem? I mean, you are seeing, this is called a problem statement, right? This is called problem statement. But computer is not going to use this problem statement to evaluate your code, right? So this is called an input and an output. So inputs and outputs are what matters. This is something that the computer will give to your code, and your code should produce the correct output. Fundamentally, this is what is happening. But is single input? No. You will have a single input and an output given as a sample. There are many inputs that are set behind the scenes when a question is created. So when I say there is a problem or a question, okay, problem or a question or a task. A better word for problems is task, technically. When somebody creates a task, there are certain things created called statement, which is what you read and you understand about the problem. Then you have inputs, bunch of inputs and their corresponding outputs. Okay, so there are a lot of input files and a lot of output files corresponding to them. These are correct input outputs such that your code can be checked across on them. Okay, this is the behind the scenes of a problem. Okay. Okay. Increase the quality of video. I think it should be streaming in 1080 from, if I'm not wrong. Okay. If you're talking about my handwriting, then I don't think I can improve then. Chalo, let's. So you now read the problem, you read the statement, and you think this is my code that I'll write. Okay. So you will write a piece of code like C++ code, let's suppose, like hash include dot 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 dot, int main. You'll write some codes in that, and then you write that. Okay. Now, when you submit this code, what happens is the first stage is you compile, right? Your code gets compiled and it creates something, some executable called a.out, like not exactly a.out, but any executable, right? So if you have read about compilers, if you have tried compiling C++ codes on your computer, it's basically converting your like program into a executable, which can then take inputs and run outputs. Okay. Then over here there are a bunch of inputs, right? A lot of inputs. What the online judge does is it takes these inputs one by one and it gives your executable and it runs it. Okay. When you run, then you get the output, your code's output for this. Okay, you get the output for it. Now for this particular input there are certain correct outputs also. So now they will take these two things and compare. Hey, is your code output same as the correct output of the code or not, right? This is what will happen. Now if you write some syntax error in your code, like you miss a semicolon, you miss something, like you make some mistake in syntaxes, like you write instead of while, you write, let's suppose WILE, you write WHLE, right? Something like that. So what will happen is your code will say compilation error. So this step will fail and it will say that, hey, your code had some error like this. Okay. Then if your code is having no compilation error, then this stage will pass and this will get generated, right? Then the inputs will start running this code and your input will be provided, like let's suppose in.txt a file is provided as an input and your code will run on this input, very similar to samples, but these files might have big sizes, right? So now once you take this particular input and you run it, there can be multiple things. One is you get an output, okay, but it might so happen that your code crashes when your code is running that input, like your code divides the number by 0, right? So there can be a lot of things like runtime error, like while running it just crashed, right? Runtime error. Your code might access invalid memory, right? Like you create an array of 5 size and you are accessing 10th index, things like this. So you might get segmentation faults and stuff, right? You might also end up running so long that like the computer just keeps running, right? And obviously a online judge will not keep your code running for a like indefinite amount of time, right? So if you see over here, like there is a time limit mentioned. Okay, so every input file that comes to your code, it will run your code for 2 seconds only. If your code can complete your execution in 2 seconds, that is done, that then it's good, or else your code is killed and it is said ki your code will get a time limit exceeded error. Okay, that is how it works. Okay, so now this is something that you are gonna be facing off and you are going to like have to manage. Okay, that my code runs in 2 seconds and I can solve this problem. So you write a code such that it does not fails, it's not doing some malicious activity, it's not doing anything like runtime error, segmentation fault work. It is not it's running inside 2 second limit in all the inputs that are given. It generates an output. Now if your output is same as the desired output, then you will get accepted, which all of us want, or else if it doesn't, then you get wrong answer. Okay, that one of the files, even if one of the files fail, you will get a wrong answer. Okay, clear everyone? Is this flow making 50% sense to all of you? You might not be tech savvy as of now, you don't know what is a dot out, what is compilation internally, but are you understanding what this is all trying to do? Like 50% clear to everyone? Quick +1 in the chat once. Okay, I'll just quickly do one thing. Great, chalo. Next. Yeah. So this is assuming that your world is just a single code running, right? I'm not talking about system design, that how will you actually make it work for so many people running together, right? That is a different realm altogether. Okay, maybe we'll talk about that also. But this is how your code works. Okay, I don't want to get into compiler stuff and all. So please don't make your life so hard. Life is not that hard. You don't need to know everything in details. Start with basics. Once you get good at basics, start with harder things. Okay, double click on this key. How does this compilation actually work? Double click and then it expands. Okay, this is how compilation works. Okay, next. You have a C++ program, a question given to you. How do you solve that problem? Okay, we have to solve a question. So I already took an example. No, this is this. Right, this is the example with us. So how do you solve a problem? So give me something. I'll ask you a very very interesting question. Okay, when you see a problem, what do you look at? क्या देखते हो? मतलब how do you think about it? What is your flow? Is there a flow in solving problem? या फिर चलो random, whatever I'll think about, I'll just try and do that randomly, whatever comes to my mind. Is that what you do? Or there is a flow in your thought, or you have a discipline? Yeah, I'll see this problem, I will do this, and I'll solve the problem. क्या करते हो? What is there? What do you do? Read statement. Okay, makes sense. Reading is obviously important. So you read about the problem. What do you do next? क्या करते हो? Use pen paper to do what? What do you do? हाँ, this is what most beginners face. कि भाई question पढ़ा and blank. Okay, you are just trying something randomly, but nothing much comes to your mind. ठीक है? This is what happens for those who are not even able to solve the first problem. ठीक है? Think logic, bombarding ideas. Okay, but how will ideas come? ठीक है? Hints from examples. Okay, examples comes next. So what I generally do, I'll give you my process. Okay, I read the problem statement, I understand what it is asking, so I'll read this problem statement. Your task is to find an integer y such that gcd of x comma y plus y is maximum possible. X is fixed, there are t test cases. Okay, did I understand it correctly? So there are 7 test cases. The first test case answer is 5. Okay, for 7 the answer is 6. For 21 the answer is 18. Okay, so it's trying to find out the best result of this expression, right? So first is reading, obviously, right? Okay, but then what? वहीं पर तो लोग blank हो जाए ना. People start getting blank after that. कि what do I think next, right? How do I strategize? Okay, so this is what we'll learn in the camp. How to build strategies to solve problems. This is what problem solving is essentially what I teach. कि सोचते कैसे? That is what I'll teach you. Everybody can teach you language. Everybody can teach you tons of question का solution. They can memorize you 400-500 problem रटवा देंगे. I'll teach you how to think. ठीक है? We'll build a discipline around it. And how do you build logic? That's what we'll focus on in the live classes. Rest everything I think you guys can do. All of you guys will get good enough resources for everything else. Okay, I'll actually move this over here so that I can do this quickly. Okay, so first is obviously reading. How much time does this take approximately? 5 minutes maybe. Uske baad, then you have to think, then you have to formulate, then you have to code, then you have to debug. Okay, this is the flow we will follow. Simply think about the solution. What do you need to do? Formulate ki how will you write the code, plan it, then write the code and then debug. Please do this sequentially. Nahi to fir there is no progress that you will see over time. You will just end up seeing, keep doing things, but you will write some code and keep thinking and then delete code and then write again. This is what most beginners do. Ki they write code, then think, then delete, then write again, then think, then delete, then write again. Right? That is what people do. And then submit and then get wrong answer, then delete everything, then start again. That's what everybody does at the start. Okay. That's not what we'll do. Okay. So we'll cover the C++ wala part also. First 30 minutes is just OJ and solving problem, and then rest will move to C++. Okay. So this is what we need to do first. Now, obviously, hardest part is this, and we need to learn techniques to solve problems. We have to learn to solve problems. But this is not what we'll focus on today. Okay? I'll not talk about this today. We'll learn this in the camp as we go on. In fact, the next session's I'll start logic building in the next class itself, Tuesday wala class. So we'll start building this. Today we'll focus a little more on coding, but this is the flow that we need to do. We have to think about the problem. We'll think that this is how we will write the code first and then write the code. Please don't start typing unless you are clear what you will write. The code should be first thought in your mind and then on your screen. Most people write the code first and then think. Okay? Okay? And I will give you the timings for all the steps as we go. Abhi to usme start kiya, right? But today we'll focus on ki let's suppose we have a strategy. We want to write code for it. How do you go about doing it with C++? What are the nuances that you need to know if you are coming from some other language? Now this camp has a prerequisite that you should know some programming language. Kuch kisi mein to for loop, kisi mein while loop aana chahiye, right? You need to know something in some programming language. Okay? But we will learn the fundamentals in the first 2 weeks. We will get all the practice problems around it. Okay. Yeah, the constraints will help you over here. Obviously, the constraints and stuff will help you to think about what is the correct solution. Okay. Okay. So let's read this problem. You have to find GCD. X is a very small number. How do you find this answer? Maybe you go through all the numbers, all possibilities of Y. Like generally, div 3A's and stuff. They don't have too hard logic. So there is something written as brute force. So these are called tags. Okay. I don't recommend you turning on tags at this point, but the tags tell you which topic this might be. So brute force means try everything. So see, Y can be in the range 1 to X. Can I try all possible values and find the best answer? Okay. So if you even try everything, you will try 1,000 things, and there are 1,000 cases. So 1,000 into 1,000 plus you might need to calculate GCD. We'll learn about time complexity in the next class as well. Abhishek is going to cover that. So plus there will be tons of material too to practice, but this might work. So you might think कि कुछ तो भी idea आ गया, ठीक है? Okay. So this is what you think about in the problem, that now I have a strategy. I will try all Y. So this is just thought, ठीक है? इसके बाद you have to do a formulate step. ठीक है? Formulate करना मतलब क्या होता है कि भाई मैं सारे y try करूंगा. I'll just try every y and I'll try to see if this value is maximum. But that is not code, isn't it? Code तो नहीं है ये. This is just thought, है ना? Code तो नहीं है. तो code कैसे लिखेंगे इसके बाद? So this is where you do a formulation. Formulation में क्या करते हैं हम? We use simple constructs of programming. ठीक है? Programming में क्या होता है ना? When you write a programming in a program, you can only do certain things. You can do things sequentially, or you can do if-else branching, or you can do looping, things like that, right? Primarily these three things, right? So this is what you need to think about. Ki whatever you have thought, how do you map it to constructs of programming? Okay. So this is what we'll try to learn today: constructs and how to do things in C++. Today's class is on C++ primarily. First 30 minutes, I just wanted to discuss these things so that you are clear on this. I'll just take quick questions. Next, we'll move to C++, and how to map logics to C++ is what we'll learn. Now, quick 3 minutes on all the questions that you guys have. We don't need to solve question. Solve question to solve ho jayenge. This question is just an example. I'm just taking a reference, right? Today we're just going to go through C++ primer, the things that you need in C++ that you need to know. And then obviously you will learn tons of more things when you solve code, when you solve problems and write code for them, essentially. And you will obviously do that, right? There is like day-wise structure given to you to practice. Okay. हाँ Slack का भी आता है. Yes. So next, so I'll be कहाँ गया Slack भाई? Where is the Slack वाला part? Slack. Yes. Okay. करेंगे अभी ये सब चीजें. Okay. So I'll take just quick messages on this. STL stuff will do, right? Don't worry. कुछ क्वेश्चन है जल्दी बताओ फटाफट. You have the live session chat quickly. Yes, सब चीज, everything else that you can think of is in this. Okay. What rest? What more? I know Python, Java. Can I start? Yes, you can. How to join the Slack? So I think you would have got the mail invite if you have joined the camp on your mail. Join from that. Okay. ठीक है. Magic मिल गया कल? Oh shit. Anyways, I'll teach you in a different way on Tuesday. ठीक है. Question समझने में हाँ यार 5-10 मिनट you take time. All basics of C++ I should watch. After today's class I'll tell you. No, you don't need to know topics as of now. ठीक है. Think formulate, don't know heart. We'll learn each of them individually. We'll practice each of them. Greedy हो जाएगा. I'm given contest, then where to see rating. Code forces पे देखो. Upsolving. So there is a process of upsolving that once you solve this question, you should, after a contest, you should go and solve and learn the idea of the 1+1 problem that you couldn't solve. That's called upsolving. Very simple. Okay. हाँ भाई सब कवर होगा. Okay. Flow chart, वो सब practice करने के लिए है, but we'll just learn constructs today. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Chalo, I think all these questions are simple. We will get anyways to all these questions when we solve the questions, right? Will you teach template? Yeah, we'll do all sorts of things. हाँ करेंगे. Don't worry. No, there is practice. Do we need to prove our logic before code? Ideally, yes. When there are multiple outputs, then there is something called as checker. I didn't talk about that, but there are something called as checkers which work. ठीक है, validators, checkers, things like this. Okay. How to increase thinking? Logic करके, मतलब practice करके. और क्या? अभी करेंगे, रुक जाओ. Okay. Okay. So now let's move to a little bit of C++, and I think it's a good time to pause. I'll take your questions, guys. So if you have questions on the chat on the Slack group, anyways the TA will keep answering you all. Okay, the ones that I have taken. Please don't spam. I'll most probably you'll get banned. Okay, Slack पे तो it's super easy to ban people. ठीक है, spam मत करो. उससे जल्दी क्वेश्चन नहीं लिए जाएगी. Okay. चेकर अगर मैं क्वेश्चन नहीं पिक करूं, if I'm not taking your question, most probably it's not relevant at this point in time. ठीक है. Yes, this is there. Chalo. Thanks, Smith, for putting up the notes. After the class, if you can put up the notes in general, I'll post it in like the announcement for everyone also. Okay. Thanks for the help. वेबसाइट पे week 3 week 4 क्यों रिमूव करें? क्योंकि अभी week 1 है. Focus on what it is right now. ठीक है. तो एजेड एल्गोरिथम के बारे में कोई ऐसे दोस्त से ही पता चलता है. नोबडी टॉक्स, आई नेवर टेल अबाउट इट इन जनरल टू मच. वो दोस्त से ही पता चलता है जब उसका प्लेसमेंट लग जाता है उसके बाद. चलो नेक्स्ट, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट सी प्लस प्लस. ठीक है. डोंट बी स्पेसिफिक यार. अभी हम लोग सी प्लस के बारे में बात करेंगे. वेरी वेरी सिंपल थिंग्स एंड लेट्स कीप इट लाइट. यू ऑल ट्राई टू बी एट अ सीनियर लेवल विदाउट एक्चुअली रीचिंग देयर. ठीक है. ज्यादा चीज नहीं जानना है, कम चीज जान के ज्यादा परफॉर्म करना है. ज्यादा चीज जान के परफॉर्मेंस तो आ नहीं रहा. यू आर नॉट एबल टू परफॉर्म दैट वेल इवन इफ यू नो टू मच. राइट. सो कम जान के ज्यादा कैसे परफॉर्म करते हैं वो समझना है. ठीक है. दैट इज व्हाट विल लर्न. Yes, I'll actually make a video on this. You should turn off the CF tags at this point in time. Okay. So now let's quickly talk about C++. So C++ is a very very beautiful language, right? I mean, it's a tough language but beautiful one. I mean, it just gives you everything right off the bat. You have um, STL and stuff that is super important. Plus everything, every problem can be solved in C++, which has been designed for CP specifically. So we'll use C++ for this. And I hope all of you have seen the camps first. How many of you have seen the first week structure as of now in the camp? देखा है कि नहीं देखा है? Right? So if I talk about the structure quickly, so in the week 1, you will see that there are days, right? In week 2 also there are days. But in the initial days, you will see that there are like simple constructs and stuff, looping construct, problems on them, right? GCD and stuff, calculating using functions and all on all these things, right? So this is what you should go through. And if you are absolutely new to C++, C++, then you should go through the AZ101 wala material, which I have also mentioned over here, right? You will be able to see all this thing in over here, right? This one, if you are absolutely beginner, right? But then this is generally sufficient if you have learned already one language. So this is what you need to go through right now. And like we are almost on day 3, but it's super easy to cover day 1, day 2. There's nothing much hard in that, even if if you have not done anything as of now. So C++ is a beautiful language which provides you with all the things that is needed. But let's step back a little bit, right? What in fact on the world is a language? Why do we need even a language to solve? Okay? They say there are certain things that computers are good at doing, but there are certain things that we are good at doing, and there is a very big mismatch. Computers are good at playing with bits and bytes. We are good at playing with numbers, maths. I mean, humans have been good at maths, right? I think not calculation, but thinking logically. So we needed some interface. So languages comes in that place, and people have created things in language depending on what is needed, what is actually needed to be used to convert whatever we think into programming stuff, right? So you might have heard about data types, variables, input output, bunch of things like this, right? All of these things are nothing but just ways for us to hold things that we think are relevant, right? My biggest theory that I generally teach is everything is a box. ठीक है, सब कुछ box है इस दुनिया में, right? Everything is a box. Your code is a box, your computer is a box, your variables are a box, right? Everything is a box. So essentially we'll start from there, right? So you generally like start writing C++ code and you write something like int x equal to 5, maybe y equal to like integer y equal to, let's suppose, 3 into x, things like this you write, and you can do some output c out and stuff, c out y, scene, you can do scene c out as well, all these kind of things, right? So there are different things that you can write in C++, and these are all language nuances, right? Things that has been like given in the language. So you need to know syntax, but everything is eventually a box. What does that mean? So what is this line saying? Acha bhai, there is a x. X is a variable. Variable means something that can store anything. So whenever you need to store, what I think is a box. Box पता है ना क्या होता है? Like you can open the box and see inside it. Everybody knows a box. Life is a box. CSS is a box. HTML, CSS, everything is a box, isn't it? Is this clear? So it's like saying there is a box labeled X. I can store something inside it, put 5 inside this thing. You know? Everything is a box. There is int y. Create another variable y of a type int. So there is data types that are generally given. Data types means you need to tell the computer that I am trying to create a box, but you need to store it in zeros and ones. So if you just tell them that, hey, this is an integer, the computer will do it in an efficient way. It will know that, okay, there is a box coming which will store something, but I know how to convert it to zeros and ones. That's what these all things do. Okay? It's just a way of telling computer that this is how we will store the things internally in 0 bits and bytes. So integer y equal to 3x, it will just create another box. All boxes are might or might not be same. All boxes of same type have the same size, like integers have same size. It's like one template. All these are like brown boxes of like 30 cross 30 cross 30 maybe, right? And you can store something inside it. What you will store, there is an expression over here, 3 into x. So 3 into, open the box of x, see what is the value inside it, 5 multiplied by 3, 15, put it inside it and put name this box as y. Clear? Very simple way of thinking about it, but it just makes life super easy. I mean, right now you might be telling me कि विवेक ये क्या पढ़ा रहे हो, ये तो बहुत ही basic हो गया. This makes no sense to teach. But when you will read even harder concepts, right? Things like references. When you write ampersand x equal to y integer this, it's like labeling this as x also. Rename, like putting another label on the same box, right? You can actually learn every concept, even harder things in C++ with this theory, but will not go into all those things as of now. ठीक है? यहाँ तो समझ में आ गया? Is this clear? That we have boxes and things are stored inside it. हाँ. तो बिगिनर ही बनना पड़ेगा ना, पहले सब तो बिगिनर ही है. Don't worry, second class से level बढ़ जाएगा. I generally don't teach so much beginner stuff, but obviously when it's required, I know when it's required, it has to be. Okay? Good. Chalo, next. So this is data types which store things. This is called data type. Integer. So there are two types of data types, primitive and like composite, which means you create that. So you have integer, floating points. I'll just refer to the website once because it just contains everything. Where is that? Just give me one sec. You know, okay. So when you will read the notes and stuff, you will see that what different types of primitive data types exist. Every data type has a size. Every data type has limits that how much it can store. All these things are like decided by the language. So you'll have to learn about it. Okay. And there are non-primitive data types, like you can create your own like custom data type out of it too, user-defined data types. And then non-primitive ones are ones that has multiple primitive ones, right? These are two things. So you can create new things, or you can use multiple ones of the same smaller things. So these are there, like arrays and strings and stuff like that. Okay. And then there are user-defined, obviously. So this is essentially how the graph looks like. Very, very basic. Okay. Okay. Now, a very, very important thing that you all need to know is something called as input output. क्योंकि करना तो input output ही है. Everybody agrees? Everybody agree कि input output is not important. Every problem will take some input and you will have to print it. ठीक है, कुछ तो output करना पड़ेगा. No matter what logic you put inside it, there has to be an input and there has to be an output. ठीक है, so input output is super crucial if you think about it. So input output is something that you'll have to spend a lot of time on over time as you solve questions. But in general, all your purposes of input and output will be served using C-in and C-out. Okay? C-in, C-out, agar samajh mein aaya, to you can get everything done with that. How does C-in, C-out works? Does anybody know inside it? Even I don't know inside it, but it basically buffers, input buffers, output buffer, stdin, all these things inside it. So what happens now when you have this file ki acha 7 3 2 aisa kuch likha hua hai, a file like this is given to your computer, right? It gets loaded in something called as a buffer. Okay, so there is a buffer in between. कि यहाँ पर ऐसे 7 फिर /n फिर 3 space 2 /n next line and all, then whatever is over here, all these things are pasted like this. Okay, so when you have this stream, right, input stream, you can pick things from the top and save it in some variable. So you can say that, hey, go ahead and take the next integer coming in, integer x, c in x. So what it does is c in x. So c in is take from c in and put towards the x. So I generally kind of keep this mapping ki this arrow means the data is going from here to here. ठीक है, so take the value from c in and move it to x कि भाई इधर से take one thing means till you see a delimiter मतलब क्या होता है, /n spaces, all these things stops taking it. So it will take this 7 and put it inside this x and move and remove the next delimiter. So it will pop these things and it will put x 7 inside x. So x का box है, इस पे 7 डाल दिया. This is what it does. Right? It's not queued, it's a stream. Okay? Stream and queue are two different things. Okay. Clear? यहां तक क्लियर है सबको कि ये सीन क्या होता है? Take out something from the input and put it inside that particular variable. Okay. Cout is this. It basically says, hey, take x right now contains 7, so take it out, and there is a output stream, put 7 inside it. ठीक है, एक आउटपुट स्ट्रीम है, cout stream, उसमें 7 ऐड कर दो. Right, so there are two streams, c in, cout. इसमें से निकालो, from this take it and put it in x, from x put it inside cout. So arrows basically tell you which side they are going in. ठीक है, तो इधर डाल दो cout पे. Okay, so this is what you need to do. Any input that is given, you can actually take it by this way कि अच्छा next क्या 7 आने वाला है, so take the 7 and put it in this variable. अच्छा next क्या, there is a name, so maybe take it and put it inside a string. There is a next floating point number, take that number and put it inside a floating point variable. ठीक है, so you need to use c in, cout for all your purposes. Okay, निकालना है और एक डब्बे में डाल देना है, whichever data type you have been taking. Now the thing is, c in, cout by default is a little slow. How many of you know about fast IO? Something called as fast IO करके कुछ होता है, सुना है क्या ये word fast IO? Okay, so this is another site which you guys can use to also code online. I sometimes use it to show in online, like in live classes, because anybody can replicate it directly. So over here you can select the language C++. We are using C++ 17. That's the version that you can use for most of your purposes. So the headers, this is called headers. You always need to write this one piece of line, which includes everything that you need to solve a problem. Okay. Using namespace std. This is also another line which you need to use. This basically is something that is used in industries called namespaces. But for our case, we don't need. We just are saying that in libraries, things are defined inside namespaces. We just want everything that is defined in the standard namespace. Okay. So this is what you need to write. And then you have the main function where the execution will start. It's very similar to every programming language. Inside this, you need to write whatever logic you can do. So if you have an integer x, you can take it over here. You can define an integer x. It's like creating the box of x. Take the integer x in the input over here, inside the box from the user input. Then like print x plus 1 to the screen, and then print endl, like go to the next line. Then again, I'm just copy pasting one more thing. And I'll explain once we do this. Okay, let's run this code. So over here, you can do it with interactive terminal, but I just give the inputs in this text file. So input is, let's suppose you are given two values. So your code is taking two inputs, X and Y. So I'll give 3 and 4 as the input. So space, slash n, all these things separate different variables. Okay, so all these inputs will be taken that way. So if you run this, see what happens, 3 and 4. So what is printed on the screen? 4, 3 was taken as the input was C, 3. So 3 was saved in the box X, X plus 1 is 4, 4 is printed to the screen, okay. But then next you take 4, which is Y, inside Y you take 4, you print to the screen 8. So 4, 8, 4, and then 8 gets printed. But then they are very, like, there is no space between them, right? Remember, like when we created this file, there was a space in between. So it was coming to us in this stream like this, 3, then there is a space, then there is a 4. But when we are printing 4, 8. But that is not what we want, right? We want 4, then 8 in the next line maybe. So there are certain things that you can do to think like separate space. You can print the space separately, or you can make this move to the next line. So what you can do is you can maybe print cout just a space, right? Print a space. So now when we run this, it will do 4, then it will print space, then it will print 8. Hai na? Or if you want to move it to the next line, you can just use cout endl, which basically moves it to the next line. Okay, cout, so endl means like moving it to the next line, and then 8. Now there is one important thing that you need to know, that you can actually put many things together inside cout, right? You can make this go in this line itself, and this will also work. So what will it do? Hey, there is a cout, inside that add X plus 1, which is 4, then also add this endl, which is next line, and then move to the next thing, add 8. This will also work. So it is all just being chucked into a pipe, right? It's all being chucked into 4 slash n 8, whatever you will do, it just gets chucked in over here, right? But then when you do endl, there is a little difference in that. I'll explain it. Endl and slash n is a little different in them, and I'll explain that. Okay. Yes, correct. Clear till this point कि input ले रहे, output print कर रहे. You can put many more things कि यहाँ पर 3 भी, like you put a space, you put 24, and then you put endl. So what will it do? It will take X, it will print X plus 1, then a space, then a 242, then it will move to the next line, then it will print whatever Y was taken into 2. ठीक है? Yes. Now, one simple rule, okay? Never use endl when you are writing programs. It's a little slower. Always try to use slash n. Vivek, why is that? Vivek, why do we do that? Because what happens, right, in endl, the way it works is there is your screen, okay, computer hai yahan par, right, your computer, and in your program there is this stream where you are printing things and you have your code running, right? So you say put 4 inside cout, okay? Then if you say put slash n inside the cout and then put 8 in the cout, after your code completes, all these things will be printed on the screen. 4 slash n's mean goes to the next line and print 8. But the way endl works is it puts 4 and then you say endl. So it will also flush this to the screen and then move to the next line. Okay, it will move your cursor over here. Okay, and then if you put 8 and print, so it will put 8 over here. This is how it works. So putting things multiple times on the screen is slow. So that is why we want to make sure that we don't use endl, we use slash n. Clear till this point? तो कुछ नहीं, सिंपल रूल है, endl नहीं यूज करने का, slash n यूज करने का. Use slash n whenever possible. Clear till this point? Quick +1. Box is a box, yes. Everything is a box. Monitor is a box. This stream is also sort of box. For iterator, what is iterator? ठीक है, मुझे नहीं पता iterator क्या है. ठीक है. अच्छा, I don't know if you can we define handle? Yes, you can do that, but that's hack. अच्छा, somebody did you notice कि there is double quotes here, there is single quote here. What is the difference? Vivek, what is the difference between this and this? क्या difference है इन दोनों में? Yes, we can define handle as slash. वही है, like they are packed in different kinds of boxes, a little different, but this is a string, this is a character, this is, you cannot put multiple things here, you cannot write this like slash n then abc, okay, but you can write slash n abc here, like it will be all together, okay, that will put all these things together. In this single course you can only put one thing, in this you can put multiple things, okay, that's the difference. Okay, great. Chalo. So basics input output is done. You will, whatever you want, you can pull it in using this character. Even if you want, you can take something called as strings. String, name. I can take scene, name, cout, hello, space, name, handle नहीं करने का, slash n करने का, right? We remember that. Yeah, you can put double quotes. You can put this. No problem. This will also work. In this case, the input is 3, name. Okay. If I write Vivek Gupta, if you run this, it will just pick the first till the first space. Hello, Vivek. Yes, I know. I remember. I visited. अच्छा, how? चलो, tell me. How do you guys take the full name? पूरा name कैसे ले? How do you take the full name? ये तो एक ही नाम print कर रहा है. There's something called as a get line function. कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, you don't want to take it one by one. You don't know how much is gonna come. You want to take the full thing. So you use something called as get line. ठीक है? कैसे लिखते थे मैं भूल गया. कुछ ऐसा था syntax. What was the syntax? नहीं खुला नहीं, don't worry. Right, so you basically say get a full line from scene and put it inside name. Acha, now let's do a very interesting thing. Integer x, scene x, cout x plus 1 slash n. Okay, so input is 3 and this. What will be the output of this? You have to tell me on the chat quickly. Okay, I'll see on the Slack. What will be the output of this? So input is this. You have to tell me the output of this piece of code. In case your Slack link is no longer working, like mail at support@algozinit, you from the mail ID that you had taken earlier, you can do that. You'll get it. क्यों भाई 4 क्यों 4? Hello Vivek कहाँ चला गया? Where is this part? Let's run it. 4 and hello सबका गलत. Why is this the case? How many of you know the reason? ठीक है, this is just an interesting edge case. कहाँ गया गेटलाइन? तो ये काम कैसे करता है वो समझना पड़ता है. You need to know the way it works internally. थोड़ा सा. This is one nuance that many students make mistake and when they start learning. But and most go uncorrected. जाके कॉन्टेस्ट में देते हैं, कोडिंग टेस्ट में, तब जाके पता चलता है वो शिट काम नहीं कर रहा है. ठीक है. So essentially ऐसा होता है ना. So the input is this: 3/n विवेक गुप्ता. ये है मेरा इनपुट. There is a space in between. ये इनपुट है. This is the input stream. So what happens is when you use cin, okay, what will it do now? It will take this 3 and it will remove it off. It doesn't really actually remove the slash n also from the buffer. ठीक है. It doesn't remove the slash n from the buffer. cin जब तुम x करते हो, cin से लेके x पे डालते हो, it moves the 3. If there was a number again after it, if there was another scene to y, it would remove this extra thing and take the next number into the y. But in case you have just a single scene, it doesn't remove this slash n. ठीक है. Now when you do the get line क्या होता है? Take till the next slash n. तो यहाँ slash n तो पहले ही आ गया, तो वो empty ले लेगा, right? तो it just takes this and it takes till empty string inside the string. तो वो string है but वो empty string है. ठीक है. So how to take care of it? If this is the concept, then if I change the code to this, possibly, let's see. If I change this code to this, will this work? If this is the concept of buffers and if this is how it's working, will this work? Yes or no? Some people say, Vivek, ab to kuch bhi ho sakta hai. I mean, let's see. Yeah, this time it works because the first get line removes this extra slash in front over here. Then it takes the rest of the part of the string. Clear? Very, very interesting mistake which people first time make after going in a test. ठीक है. ऐसे बहुत सारे nuances होते हैं. You need to know all these landmines. ठीक है. We'll learn all them. Don't worry. Clear till this point? So this is basically input output, which is very, very important. Obviously, you will learn much more when you keep practicing things in writing code. So you will keep learning more and more ways of taking inputs. Whenever you will see questions of like numbers, strings, arrays, and stuff like that, you will start understanding how to take their inputs and stuff. Okay, but this is the basic concept of input. Next. Perfect. This is exactly there. फ्रॉड तो करता है भाई C++ काफी. नेक्स्ट. इनपुट आउटपुट समझ में आ गया. अब यार एक बार जल्दी लेट्स गो थ्रू द कंस्ट्रक्ट्स ऑफ C++ वेरी वेरी क्विकली सो दैट वी कैन राइट बेसिक पीसेस ऑफ कोड. Like a lot of them is covered in the days. Okay, when you will go through these days, you will learn all these things. Obviously, like teaching like like C++ is a college course, right? So teaching every small nuance in a live class would be hard. Instead of that, what I'll suggest is go through the questions, go through the materials, we'll learn tons of things. Plus, I'll teach you solving problems in the classes. That is the purpose of classes. Please don't expect anybody to come and teach you कि भाई ये ऐसे रट लो, ये ऐसे होता है, रट लो. There's no point in taking live classes like that, right? Live classes is for picking things that I have learned on an experience basis and copying that up so that you can grow very, very quickly. So if in a live class you are learning what is available in a blog, right, or in a book, it makes no sense of that live class. Mostly what in live classes, what we'll do is we'll try to understand how to think, because nobody can teach you that unless you are directly picking it up from somebody who is experienced, right? So that is what we will focus on in all the live classes that we will do. यार विवेक सोचे कैसे इस प्रॉब्लम के बारे में, हाउ डू वी थिंक अबाउट इट, दैट इज व्हाट वी विल डू. ओके, चलो. Obviously we'll start slow and then when I'll start teaching harder stuff, then you'll realize कि what is the value of this? Ki when you get to learn the harder things directly, na, that is when like 1 month of effort becomes a week of, like you can get the same result in a week. So that's when things start happening. Okay, chalo. So this is one quickly understood basic concept. Very nice note taking function. Chalo, good. You guys can take notes and stuff. MCQs वगैरह है, please solve them. I have already solved and tested them, some of them. ठीक है, so तुम लोग भी कर लेना. I'm leaking solution already, but there's no points in that. Okay, next let's talk about programming constructs quickly. I think multiply, divide, all these things like C++ can do directly. There are three very important things. Things run sequentially, things runs with branching, which is if and if else. ठीक है, if else करके होता है ना कुछ, if name, you can also do this scene name. ठीक है, I'm now assuming that the input will be just a single first name. ठीक है, so scene name will work, but just with get line that exception was there. ठीक है, scene name, if name is equal to Vivek, print instructor or else print student. Okay, this part is not needed anymore. Did you get the purpose of this program? Very simple. कुछ नहीं, नाम लिया विवेक है तो इंस्ट्रक्टर प्रिंट करने का, नहीं तो स्टूडेंट. हाँ ठीक है, आई थिंक एपिक मैंने आंसर दे दिया. ज्यादा पढ़ना है तो एल वैल्यू आर वैल्यू पढ़ो, जाके ये सब चीजें पढ़ो. अभी बेसिक से ही स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, जब पढ़ाऊंगा हार्ड तब बोलेगा विवेक का लेवल कम कर दो. डोंट वरी, विल गो इनटू देयर एज वेल. तो कुछ लोगों को जिसको ज्यादा आता है पहले से वो और पढ़ो यार, सिखा रहा हूँ ना, कुछ बीच में नगेट्स तो डाल ही रहा हूँ मैं हार्डर चीजों का भी जो तुम्हें नहीं आता हो, बट देन वो भी सिखाऊंगा जो नहीं आता है फॉर श्योर. ओके, so this is instructor, this is student. What if I need, hey, name can be Abhishek also, so you can have code like this, or name is equal to Abhishek, and then he's also an instructor, so instructor or else you're a student. ये समझ में आ गया? Simple input, नाम लिया, नाम input पे लिया. Compare this, if the name that was given was Vivek or Abhishek, then print out instructor or print out student. Very simple. यहाँ तक clear? Quick +1. So this is called branching, that if this happens then do this or do this, though both of them doesn't get executed. Okay, you might have also mentors in your course, right? Like in ICPC camp we have mentors, right? So you have else if as a construct, else if name is equal to, let's suppose I'm just writing one Range. Okay, so we can also have cout mentor. Clear? So you can have if else, if this happens or else this happens. Okay, simple branching stuff. This is language nuance. You can read about it more in the blogs that is there on the course. Okay, but this is how you write pieces of code. Compare things, check, build logic. ये और ये तो ये होगा, ये तो ये होगा. You whatever you build logic, this is the formulation part, and then you convert it to code. Okay, we'll learn about formulating more. And you all will be comfortable with C++ only after solving 100 problems in C++. There is no shortcut to it. Jab tak you haven't written 100 codes actually with yourself with fingers, you will not be able to be confident on C++. It's not possible. Okay. It comes with practice, it comes with time, it will take effort. If you can't do that, then this field is not for you. Very simple. Okay. And other things that you are able to do with copy has very little value. तो करना तो पड़ेगा. ठीक है. In fact, that was one of my reasons of also giving first day as contest, कि जिसको भागना है वो भाग जाएगा पहले ही, कि भाई नहीं हो रहा है भागो. भागने वाले लोग को होने भी नहीं वाला है कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामिंग. इट्स फेयरली हार्ड, बट जो करेगा उसका होगा. सिंपल है. Okay, so this is basic simple construct. There is also constructs of looping that I can go through a single like loop for integer I equal to, I have to print 1 to 100. I can go about this, doing this, I is less than 100, I plus plus, ठीक है, C out I plus 1, end L नहीं करना चाहिए, so we'll do slash. Okay, let's try to print the output. Let's see what happens. So since the input was Vivek, so it got instructor, and then you print I equal to 0. So the printout is 1. Then when I is 1, it prints out 2. When I is less than, till I is less than 100. So till 99, you will print, when I is 99, you will print 100. And when I is 100, it will stop because I is no longer this. So this piece will not run. Okay. देखो मैं सच ही बोलता हूँ, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ, जैसा है वैसा ही है यार. लाइक इफ आई मिसलीड यू बाय सेइंग कि इजी है ये कर लो, ये है कर लो, तो वैसे नहीं होता है ना. हार्ड है बट करना है. जिसके पास वो अपना एटीट्यूड, वो करने का पावर है, दे विल सर्वाइव. आई जस्ट नॉट, दैट्स हाउ द फील्ड इज. ठीक है. यस, अभी तो बहुत पढ़ाई. अभी 10 वीक है भाई, तो फर्स्ट वीक स्टार्ट हो रहा है. 10 वीक में तुम कहाँ पहुंच जाओगे, तो समझ में नहीं आएगा अभी. ओके, दिस इज लूप्स एंड स्टफ. ठीक है, ये पढ़ना इसके बारे में. देयर इज लॉट्स ऑफ मटेरियल दैट विल बी देयर. ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ मैं, अदर थिंग्स आर आल्सो गुड, बट अगर कॉपी पेस्ट कर रहे हो तो यू विल गेट रिप्लेस्ड. आ ही रहा है ना रिप्लेस करने के लिए आई वगैरह. ओके, नेक्स्ट देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज फंक्शंस. फंक्शंस पता है? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू नो फंक्शंस? सुना है फंक्शंस के बारे में क्विकली? I'll show it once on the screen too. Yeah, I'll tell about notes and stuff, don't worry. I'll teach you how to take notes and all. हाँ, कॉम्प्लेक्स ब्रांचिंग में कंफ्यूजन होता है, सो वो प्रॉब्लम जब बिल्ड करोगे तो देन यू विल स्टार्ट सीइंग हाउ टू सॉल्व दोस प्रॉब्लम्स. ठीक है. So right now we have to just solve the problems on platform and give the diff to A, B, C's अभी के लिए. D तक पहुंचना है, मैं थोड़ा सा diff 2 करें, diff 3 का D तक, D तक एक्चुअली. ओके. हाँ, time can be difficult but you have to manage that obviously. Okay, so functions is also boxes. ठीक है. चलो, since we are doing box theory today, I will teach you another analogy of boxes. Functions पता है कैसे काम करता है? So there is a function, ठीक है, like integer function, कुछ integer x लेगा and it will do something and it will return something. ठीक है, तो ये भी boxes ही है. Like there is a box being taken over here, उसके उस बॉक्स को खोल के वो कुछ उस पे काम करेगा and then it will create a new box and it will pass it back. वो बॉक्स पकड़ा देगा वापस and then you have to use that box again. है ना, सब कुछ डब्बा है इस दुनिया में, right? Everything, OS operating systems is full boxes and stuff. Everything is boxes. I actually teach that way only. सब डब्बे, ठीक है. But this is how it works. In fact, this analogy is not bogus if you think about it. When I'm saying it's boxes, there is things related to what is being returned. Is it reference? Is it memory addresses? Things like that. All those things also relate very, very closely to this. Maybe right now you might be thinking, Vivek, it's just simple analogy. ठीक है, सुनने में अच्छा लग रहा है. But it's not. It's not. Do you have a memory location, or are you pointing to something? Are you just a name above something else? All these things actually work very deeply. But then, for now, you can just take abstract view, because if you crowd your brain with everything together, now you will not be able to learn everything. Slowly, takes time. हो जाएगा. Okay, so there is an integer x, you pass in a box, the function does something and it returns something, right? कैसे करते हैं? Like let's take a problem real quick. I'll take one problem. चलो let's solve one problem. Primes करते हैं. जिसमें कोड लिखा हुआ है क्या ऑलरेडी? जैसे लिखाई हुआ तो मैं दिखाई देता हूँ, डोंट नीड टू राइट इट. Basically, this is how you write. So you read a problem, you say that given a number n, print all prime numbers 1 to n, and you have to check if that number is prime or not. So n is up to 10 to power 3. So what we can think of is, like, when I'm building the logic, what I'll think, कि यार 1 to n जाना है, I have to find prime numbers. Maybe I'll go through every number and I'll check कि ये prime है कि नहीं. अब prime है कि नहीं, it's like a separate work in itself, right? कि यार prime है कि नहीं. Maybe I'll create a separate function which will say is prime. Given a x, it will tell me क्या ये prime है, yes or no. Okay. How do I check? So you write that logic in a separate part. Prime hai, I'll go through every number from 2 till less than x and see if it is divisible by some other number, because that is the logic. Prime number is number that is divisible by only 1 in itself. So if anything between 2 to itself minus 1 divides this number, or the remainder is 0, then it's not a prime. So you'll write that logic over here to check if it's not a prime. So this is, if it's divisible, then it's not a prime. Return 0. Boolean is false, it will make it false, or else return true. Okay. So this is something that you do to check if a number is prime. And the actual question was print all prime. So you go through all numbers, check if that number is a prime or not, and then print it. क्या समझ में आ रहा है? That how are we breaking it into different pieces? कि loop चलाना and checking that are two different work. You could have written that over here also, no problem. But that is what functions gives you as a power, that it takes out a responsibility and sets it at a different place. It's an independent logic which you can use multiple times in multiple places, right? And you can write pieces of code like this to do multiple different things. Sometimes it's simple enough to be written directly over here, but then it's also sometimes complex enough that it should be removed off in a function. Okay? This is what I have realized, that I create functions fairly often because it just helps it to be clean and clear. Okay. Is this part making sense to all of you? यहां तक सबको क्लियर है? फटाफट बताओ चैट पे. फंक्शंस इज लाइक एक और पीस जहां पर एक इनपुट आएगा और वो एक आउटपुट रिटर्न करेगा, एंड वी कैन पुट एनी मोर लॉजिक ओवर देयर टू. क्लियर? चलो जी, समझ में तो आ रहा है थोड़ा थोड़ा. Obviously this all thing will need more practice, but then this will be there. This will fail for the case of 2. It will not. Why? Because जब आप 2 लेके start करोगे, it will be less than 2, so it will not run this loop. This will not fail for 2. Let's run it. Run on sample. Till 10 will it print 2? Let's see. 2 3 5 7. Okay, this is how there is. Okay, and you don't need to be complicated in all these things. But like code forces, you don't need complicated logics to solve the first few problems. Okay, just that you should be able to understand and think कि मैं ये करूँगा, मैं loop चलाऊँगा और ये check करूँगा, and maybe how to check that, you can write that logic separately. You're good to solve even 1-2 problems in code forces. 3 div 3 में. बस मैं क्या करूँगा and how to write that in code, if you are able to figure it out, you are good enough at that starting stage. Okay. Chalo, that is there. Then there are more things. As I told, there is something. So we talked about primitive stuffs, right? So you have also like composite or non-primitive stuffs like arrays and stuff. कि किसने बोला यार मेरे को एक integer नहीं, मेरे को 10 integer चाहिए. So will you declare integer x, y, a, b, c, d up till x? No, not really, right? Somebody created कि यार okay, I'll make a box which will have multiple boxes inside it. ठीक है? Which each of these box will have an indicator कि ये 0 number box है, 1 number box है, 2 number box है, internal वाला छोटा box. Okay, each of these internal boxes is integer वाला box, but उसको वो box एक बड़े से box के अंदर में, right? So this bigger box is called an array, right? And you can open the big box and उसके अंदर कोई एक specific box में you can store कि एक बड़ा box को खोलो, उसके अंदर जो 0 वाला box है उसमें 3 store कर दो. So you can put that inside a small 3. So this is how you write it. ठीक है, ये array वाला box है, उस box के अंदर जो 0 वाला box है उसको खोलो, उसमें 3 रखो. ठीक है, बाय डिफॉल्ट जैसे तुम लिखते हो ना ARR इक्वल टू 3, तो बड़े वाले बॉक्स को खोल के उसमें 3 डालते हो, बट बड़े बड़े वाले बॉक्स को खोल के उसमें 0 को खोल के फिर उसमें 3 डालो. दैट्स व्हाट दिस इज सेइंग. ठीक. That's the difference. Somebody created arrays, and you will need arrays for solving certain kind of problems. Struct will be there also, like struct and stuff. When you will use it, you will realize. Okay. One more thing I can just quickly cover maybe is fast IO. Fast IO मैंने बोला था, I didn't teach it. So there is something called as like this pieces of code that you write. I guess let's solve one problem. Maybe I'll take some random problem. कुछ भी ले लेते हैं, है ना? Let's take this problem, random problem. This is not solved as of now. ठीक है, and I'll show you all nuances in this. So you can set your template on the website that was added. I hope you all have seen it by now. So this is like my initial template that I start with. Okay, but there is no fast IO in it right now. So this is the header that I use. This is the namespace I already explained. This is called test cases because in many questions you will get test cases. See, the first line T contains test cases and then there is independent problems. So I am making a function which will solve each test case. Okay, and just run it for T number of times. So if you take the T and you run something for T number of times, this is how you will write it. Okay. So you take the test case, you run it T number of times, and you then solve the each test case ka logic. Right? This is how you start. Okay, this is the template. Now there is something called as fast IO, which makes input output a little faster in C in C out, which you should use. So the two lines that you write is sync with iOS space sync with stdio 0 scene.i 0 cout.i भी लिख सकते हो. Most people write it, so I'll write it. But this is mostly what you do this. Okay. Int this scene.i 0 cout.i 0. This is what I always write at the start of code. I don't write it, I have it my template, but you should write it when you are writing. When you have numbers or the total, so we talked about it, right? We are taking things from the stream, right? If the total number of bytes that is coming from the stream is large, then this is something that will help you to be faster. Okay. What is this doing? I'll add a video around it, but believe me when I say this, you don't need to know. Okay, you don't need to know what this is doing. It's doing all sorts of things of unrelating buffers together. Like those two buffers, input output will not need to be in sync. The stdio, there is library of stdio where I don't want to go into too much of C++ because you'll get confused. But there are certain things it does internally which makes it faster. Okay. Okay, so this is two lines that you will always write, and it's relevant enough to be written when there is like 10 to the power 6 integers being taken. So my estimate is when you have 10 to the power 6 integers can store 9 digits, like 9999 up like 10 digits, right? 10 to the power 9 is 10 digit, right? So then when there are 10 digit numbers coming in and there are 10 to the power 6 such digits like numbers, so it is almost like 10 to the power 7 digits being taken in. That's too large of an input if you think about it, and that's when like this becomes relevant. If you have this big of an input, if you don't write this, most probably your code will get a TLE somehow. Okay, so that is where it becomes super important. Now you take the test case. In this case, there is a test case, and then you want to solve this independent test cases multiple times. There will be a number. There are a bunch of 5 numbers, and you have to print in the array. So it's like an array of n numbers. You have to print the positions and store a number in that. Like ki, acha, ARR of 0 is 1, ARR of 1, A of 1 is 2, which is obviously what is given. But we are not printing something which is more than 10. Is equal to or less than 10, right? So that is the logic that we need to build. So there is an array given to us. So firstly, we will take a integer 5, integer n, right? N is given, so integer n needs to be taken as an input. Done. Next, now we have a n. So I need to create a n sized array. How to create that? Simply the definition, like the syntax for that is create a n sized array. So this is the array with a n size, which contains garbage value at this point in time. Now we will go through the array and take the input, like these inputs, into their corresponding positions. I equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. So in that array, there are n small boxes. Fill the first box, fill the second box one by one. Loop through all the array and fill each of the boxes with the 5 inputs, right? That is given to us. So I'm creating A. In the question, it's the name is given as capital A, so I can take capital A also, no problem. Okay, whatever is there. So this A array is given to us. Capital N is going to also take capital N. Doesn't make much sense, but okay. Okay, just for making it similar. I mean, it just input output badness, right? I don't. Nobody's going to see my code and tell ki, "Acha, why did you name this variable as small a or capital A?" That never happens. OJs can't see your code and tell that way, right? Yeah, actually. आते आते signed मैंने वो देख लिया है, but I'm coming to that. I've seen that. I'm already seeing it on the other screen also. So this is the input part. What do you do next? You basically go through the whole of array and you want to print only the things that are less than 10. So you again want to go through things for integer I equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. So if a of I is less than equal to 10, only then we will write this one line for that index. Okay. How do you do that? Very, very simple. Cout. Here, it doesn't print this, right? This is like a string if you think about it. We know the number, index, the value. We don't know these things. Like this is not how computer will print automatically. So we have to print it explicitly. A of I is equal to A of I. And then move to the next line. We went to everything. We went to every index, and if that index satisfies the criteria, we print that line. So to print it, we say A of 0. A of 0, we know that which index we are on right now is equal to the value. It will get replaced by its value. This is how it will get in the input output stream. And then you can print it, right? Let's see if it is running, what it is doing. Let's see. Yeah, this is coming correctly only. Okay. So let's try to submit this. Now it will, now this, so this code goes into queue and it now is going to be picked up and being run on multiple different inputs, lot of different inputs. These are just 2 sample input cases, right? But if it runs on this small, then it will run on so many large big cases, and if all of them are correct, then only that will be there. Okay. So this is something that will get accepted. Now I'm coming to that. Now, did we need to loop this again? Maybe we could have taken this and put it over here itself. This is also possible. Why? Because as soon as you get the value, you know कि भाई I can print that line then and there. मतलब I need to print all the lines, but when I get the first value, I know whether I need to print that line or not. No, so just do it then and there. That when you get the value, maybe if that is less than 10, then it is correct. Clear? This is also going to give you the same correct value, because it will print and then it will go to the next index. Whichever index will not satisfy this, it will not print this line. So printing and doing logic are 2 different things. Okay? Printing is happening into a separate stream, input is coming from a separate stream, and logic is running in the code. ठीक है. So as soon as you know कि I have to print it, just write, build that thing and print it to the cout. ठीक है, std out. Clear till this point? Yes. हाँ, in fact we don't even need to use that in this case. ठीक है. I know you all are smart, but जब करोगे क्वेश्चंस, अभी फर्स्ट वीक कर रहे हैं, इजी लग रहा है तो ज्यादा अच्छा लग रहा है, मे बी जब हार्ड लगेगा तब फिर रोते आओगे कि विवेक नहीं हो रहा है क्वेश्चन. ठीक है. सो टारगेट दिस वीक इज टू कंप्लीट दिस वीक. ठीक है. इजी है, दैट डजंट मीन यू विल नो एवरीथिंग. Believe me when I say this, most people, I have taken like a lot of courses, most people start and have overconfidence and then 3 वीक तो कोडिंग तो आता है भाई, सब कोडिंग वोडिंग आता है अपने को, ऐसे लाइक दिस इज द एटीट्यूड. 3 वीक निकलता है, उसके बाद आते हैं विवेक बहुत लैग हो गया, अब क्वेश्चन नहीं बन रहा, क्या करूं मैं. ठीक है, ये है सच्चाई. इवन इफ आई एम टेलिंग दिस, आई कैन गारंटी दैट 50% स्टूडेंट विल स्टिल डू दिस. ठीक है, विवेक अब क्वेश्चन नहीं बन रहा है, क्या करे, टाइम एग्जाम भी, कॉलेज में एग्जाम आ रहा है, अब क्या कर सकते हैं विवेक, प्लीज कुछ बता दो, लैग करते हो. क्या बताऊं भाई, क्या बताऊं मैं, क्वेश्चन कवर करना पड़ेगा बैठ के पीछे जो छोड़ के बैठ आए हो. एवरी क्वेश्चन दैट, सो दीज क्वेश्चंस आर हाईली क्यूरेटेड. ठीक है, इसमें सब में कुछ ना कुछ नुआंस है. द फर्स्ट 2 वीक्स विल बी अ लिटिल सिंपलर, उसके बाद तो हर क्वेश्चन में कुछ ना कुछ नुआंस है. मतलब वो नहीं आता तो गलत होना ही है. दैट इज हाउ इट इज डिजाइंड. If every problem has a technique or trick that it is built to be teaching. हमने पहले start किया था to take questions from code forces while teaching, but then we decided to move to our own online just to build questions so that we can create cases that we want to teach people कि यार ये तो तुम गलती मत करना इस problem में, right? That is there. So this is what we have built over time and make sure कि solve करो properly. Easy लग रहा है तो भी solve करो, hard लग रहा है तो भी solve करो. Like people who can sustain things indifferently when it's good or bad are the people who sustain. ठीक है, बाकी लोग सब easy आ रहा है, हाँ अच्छा लग रहा है, hard आ रहा है भागो. ठीक है, हो जाएगा, it's doable. ठीक है, put time to it. So this week's target is to solve these questions. We'll learn more interesting things as we go on. ठीक है, अभी तो मैं बहुत चीजें पढ़ाऊंगा. ठीक है, but अभी like interesting चीजें बहुत सीखनी है. ठीक है, so complete till day 5, at least complete till day 5. You will learn so many new things. Set precision is a very interesting thing to be learned about in C++. ठीक है. So these are things that I wanted to cover today, थोड़ा बहुत. और like somebody asked why did I write signed? This is because sometimes I do this. ठीक है, it just makes everything in my code which is integer to a long. ठीक है, everything, because it might over like some value needs to be taken in a long way, but like I wrote the code with integer, so I don't want to replace every integer with long, so I can write this, but long main doesn't work. Okay, this will not compile, you will get some error, main must return integer, so you can, but signed is fine. ठीक है, so this is a trick to just quickly replace all integers with longs. ठीक है, this is why I write signed main. हाँ, yes, so I'll share the template with you all on Slack. हाँ, yes, अगर सब आता है तो रश करो, पूरा सारे 14 दिन खत्म कर लो पूरे. ठीक है, yeah, that is also fine. 32, basically 32 bytes आना चाहिए output. That's the concept. Unsigned काम करता है क्या? Let's see. नहीं, signed कर. ठीक है. How to think for Excel? I'll teach you all debugging यार. I'll teach you all debugging, but इतने simpler problems में कुछ debugging सीखने की जरूरत नहीं होती है. You just have to see what your like, try to find cases where your code is missing on and stuff. But there are techniques which I'll teach you all in the debugging part. So there is a proper lecture on debugging जिसमें हम लोग बहुत सारी चीजें सीखेंगे, मतलब debugging के ऊपर, right? Okay. Space complexity, time complexity will become twice maybe, but constants doesn't matter. कुछ नहीं, कुछ समझना नहीं है, ये इंट को लॉन्ग बनाने का बस एक तरीका है और कुछ नहीं. You will realize because over here it is mentioned, right? देखो यहाँ पर जब पढ़ोगे, so arithmetic operators आ गया day 3 में क्या, you will read when you will actually read this part कि what is the difference between 32-bit and 64-bit and why multiply might overflow and you might need to use longs and stuff. So when you will read this, you will realize what is the problem. ठीक है. Okay. So next session tomorrow, Abhishek will take a session mostly on fundamentals only. You will get the updates in the Slack by today. ठीक है. And then उसके बाद you'll get even more stuff explained. जैसे Tuesday को हम करेंगे, उस दिन तो हम मैजिक सीखने वाले हैं legit. ठीक है. जिसने देख लिया मैजिक फिर से देख लेना, बट उस दिन legit हम मैजिक सीखने वाले हैं. तो बोले विवेक ये तो आज तक कभी किसी ने बताया ही नहीं. ठीक है, जिसको पता है उसको पता है. So input output. So now when you have problems like this, you figure out that you have to take test cases. So you go back. Where was our array, right? So now you realize that you have to take input outputs, right? There is this is the input. Okay, 7, 10, 7 ऐसे अलग अलग numbers आएंगे. So now I'll have to take a number, integer x, c in x, and I know that the answer will be in the range for integer I equal to 1 to x minus 1. So y will be in the range 1, y will be till less than x, y plus plus, right? And then you have to see if this is going to give you the maximum possible GCD, right? Like any x which satisfies the statement, which gives you the maximum possible value of this. Okay. So integer max possible equal to 0, integer max y, which the y which is giving this max is assuming it's 0, right? So you can just simply check if so if y is this integer value equal to GCD of x comma y plus y, if value is greater than the max possible equal to the current value, and this y is going to give us the max possible, so max y will be this. स्टैंडर्ड इनपुट आउटपुट क्या है, मतलब समझ में नहीं आया मुझे. विच पार्ट आई डिडंट गेट यू. आई व्हाट इज स्टैंडर्ड इनपुट आउटपुट? सी इन सी आउट ही था स्टैंडर्ड इनपुट आउटपुट, और क्या ये दो लाइन, और समझ नहीं आया विच पार्ट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. सौरभ, नेक्स्ट ट्यूसडे को मिलेंगे तो मैजिक सिखाऊंगा. आई टीच यू गाइस मैजिक प्रॉपर्ली. सो दिस इज हाउ वी कंपेयर इफ इट इज बेटर देन दिस. बस ये दो लाइन ऐड कर दो चुपचाप, याद करना पड़ेगा ये. एंड यूज स्लैश इन्स. I'll add a video on explaining this thing, ये चीज कि ये क्यों काम करता है. ठीक है, I'll add a video today. By tomorrow you'll get it. But important नहीं है जानना कि क्यों काम करता है. सब चीज दुनिया में तो बहुत चीज है ना कि there is so many things that works. भाई मैंने तो खुद से ही सीखा है बहुत मुश्किल से, सालों साल वेस्ट करके. वेस्ट तो नहीं, मेहनत करके. राइट. सी आउट मैक्स वाई. ठीक है. एंडल क्या काम करेगा? मे बी इट माइट वर्क, बट वी शुड प्रेफर स्लैश इन. ओके, जीसीडी हमने डिक्लेयर नहीं करा है, तो उसके लिए एक फंक्शन होता है डबल अंडरस्कोर जीसीडी. दिस इज ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल इन द कंपाइलर इटसेल्फ. तो दिस इज समथिंग यू कैन यूज टू कैलकुलेट जीसीडी. तो 5, 6, 14, 50, 5, 6 any y. तो like I think for this you will check and see कि 14 and 18 are both getting you the same possible value, right? Not every compiler has this. GNU G++ has this, correct. तो ये कोड काम तो कर रहा है, आउटपुट कुछ तो भी सही आ रहा होगा. 500 मे बी लेट्स सी, लेट्स सबमिट द कोड एंड सी. ठीक है, सबमिट तुम लोग बाद में कर लेना. I mean, did I write it correctly? Yes. हर बार नहीं, but for problems where it is relevant, yes, it might. ये तो 10 वीक का प्लेलिस्ट होने वाला है, हर दिन का टारगेट रहेगा हमारे पास. ठीक है, ये कोड सही है ना? मैंने गलत तो नहीं पढ़ लिया? आई हैव नॉट रेड द प्रॉब्लम्स. देख लेता हूं एक बार. ठीक है, तो इस टाइप का कोड लिखेंगे लॉजिकली बिल्ड करके. ओके, ठीक है. सो टुडे वी जस्ट लर्न द बेसिक्स ऑफ दिस सी प्लस प्लस एंड स्टफ. अभी तो प्रॉब्लम्स प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी अच्छे से. नेक्स्ट विल कीप लर्निंग मोर एंड मोर स्टफ दैट इज रेलेवेंट. टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी एंड ऑल दीस थिंग्स पढ़ेंगे अभी. Okay, now any more questions here? I cannot differentiate CR from C out. You don't need that. अभी तो जरूरत ही नहीं है ज़्यादा. प्रिंटिंग यस एरर्स के लिए होता है. लाइक इवन ऑन GDB ना, यहाँ पर देखना एक STD ईयर था, जो जो तुम यहाँ पर अगर तुम CER लिखोगे ना, तो यहाँ पर जैसे अगर तुम इसको रन किया सपोज इस कोड को, ठीक है, सो यू हैव समथिंग कि इसका जो इनपुट था विवेक, प्रिंट देखो इसने 1 से ये किया, एंड जो तुमने सीयर को भेजा था वो STD एरर में आता है. ठीक है, these are just different files. Okay, yeah, I think Vikas will take care of everything on the chat, I suppose. पता नहीं भाई क्या है इसका मतलब. हाँ, you are not locked in. Yes. Okay, ठीक है. आई थिंक वी हैव कवर्ड सिग्निफिकेंट अमाउंट. पहले दिन में अगर मैं 2 घंटे पे चले जाऊंगा तो तुम लोग डर जाओगे. यू गाइस वुड बी, क्योंकि इतने लंबे क्लासेस की मुझे आदत नहीं है. बट यूजुअली आई टेक क्लास फॉर 2.5 3, मतलब 2 आवर्स मोस्टली. बट आई कैन टेक 2-3 आवर्स. मेरे को कोई उतना टेंशन नहीं होता है पढ़ाने में. सो एज लॉन्ग एज स्टूडेंट्स पढ़ने को रेडी हो तो व्हाट मोर कैन आई आस्क फॉर, राइट? मजा आया क्लास करके? How was, so यार give me quick feedback यार in chat itself. I don't care about people seeing कि अच्छा हुआ नहीं, खराब हुआ तो बोल दो खराब, मजा नहीं आया. Easy लगा, that is a different thing, because but obviously you have to start there. But did you guys enjoy in the class? Quickly Slack पे यार. Good intro, yes. Basic. There are multiple possible values. So 14 try करके देखते. For 21 if you see 14 and GCD with 14 will be 7 plus 14. 18 के साथ करके देखो. So over here 14 plus 21 का GCD करोगे तो it will give you 14 plus GCD of this is 7. अगर तुम उसमें कितना दिया दे रखा है 18 I suppose, है ना? So 18 के साथ भी करके देखो तो शायद सेम ही आएगा. 18 plus GCD with 21 will be 3. नहीं, कितना आ रहा है? हाँ 3. So 21. So this is also giving 21. That is also giving 21. Okay, ठीक है. हाँ, इजी लगे और सीख जाए कुछ नई चीजें तो वही होना अच्छी बात है ना. Because multiple possible values are there in the question. It is saying that output any y which satisfies the statement. ठीक है, जो भी satisfy, you have to note that if there are more than y satisfy the statement, you are allowed to print any. समझ गए? गुड, ठीक है. हर दिन कुछ ना कुछ नया सीखेंगे. नेक्स्ट क्लास में तो मजा ही आ जाएगा तुम लोग को ट्यूसडे को. उसके बाद विल शिफ्ट टू जूम मोस्टली, लाइक फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट वीक ऑनवर्ड्स, लाइक विल शिफ्ट टू जूम. बट लाइक टिल ट्यूसडे विल हैव इट ऑन यूट्यूब इटसेल्फ. ठीक है, थोड़ा एक्सेस के लिए लोगों को इशू हो रहा है, पता नहीं क्यों हो रहा है, बट होना नहीं चाहिए. बट हमें जैसे मेल आ रहे हैं तो थोड़ा सा हमें करना है, अकोमोडेट कर ले रहे हैं इस बार. दैट्स इट. ओके, नेक्स्ट हम लोग फिर प्रॉपर्ली इंटरनली करेंगे जूम पे. जूम पे थोड़ा एनवायरनमेंट और बेटर रहता है. Tomorrow Abhishek will take a class. Tuesday I'll take a class. ठीक है, so I'll teach you magic. Okay, chalo. I think that should be it for today. Any last thoughts sir? If any questions like that will be there. नई चीजें सीखने मिलेंगी. Yes. नया सोचना सीखने को मिलेगा most probably. If I have to be correct. नई चीजें तो नहीं, but you will enjoy. I can guarantee you that. Chalo, quick questions on the chat, whatever you have. I didn't understand the max possible, max variable. So max possible was the value of the expression. The max value was किस y के लिए value आया है, ठीक है? That is there. Any GCD function in STD? हाँ, algorithm में है, मतलब you can use that, but हम जरूरत नहीं. GCD हम खुद बनाना सीख जाएंगे अभी थोड़ी देर में. ठीक है भैया. टेल हाउ टू अपसॉल्व इफेक्टिवली. कुछ नहीं यार, जहां तक हुआ उसके बाद एक क्वेश्चन दो क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर लेना है जितना हो सके समझ के. व्हाट इज मोर देयर टू अपसॉल्व, है ना? एंड चल रहा है, खत्म करके उसके बाद एक दिन बैठ के 24 घंटे काम करना, और क्या करोगे? मुझसे क्यों पूछ रहे हो? एंड चल रहा है, डोंट आस्क मी. भाई देखो, जिसको मन होता है वो कर लेता है, ठीक है? फ्रॉम व्हाट आई हैव रियलाइज्ड टीचिंग स्टूडेंट्स इज कि जिसको करने का मन होगा ना वो करेगा. जिसको भाई घूमने का, बाहर जाने का, इधर उधर इतना शौक रहेगा वो नहीं करेगा, ठीक है? जिसको नहीं करना है वो नहीं करेगा. बाहर जाना कोई खराब बात नहीं, मैं भी जाता हूँ, बट जिसको नहीं करना है वो नहीं करेगा, जिसको करना है वो करेगा, ठीक है? तो करो भाई. टिप्स फॉर जेई, ये सब नहीं पता फिर हो गया भाई मेरे को. सो कितने साल हो गए यार? 7 8 8 साल हो गए भाई. 2016 जेई भूल गया भाई क्या है वो सब, मुझे मत पूछो. नोट मेकिंग विल टॉक इन द नेक्स्ट फ्यू क्लासेस. मतलब नेक्स्ट वीक से जब हम क्लासेस करेंगे सो विल टॉक अबाउट नोट मेकिंग. सो आई विल गिव यू सम वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग स्ट्रैटेजी दैट यू शुड फॉलो टू इम्प्रूव मेकिंग योर नोट्स, ठीक है? कि एग्जैक्टली क्या नोट्स करना है. सो देयर इज अ फ्रेमवर्क दैट आई टीच कॉल्ड सीटी, मतलब CFFTD करके. विल टॉक अबाउट दैट एंड वो हम लोग बिल्ड करेंगे प्रॉपर्ली, ठीक है? चलो. CF प्रॉब्लम मैक्स आंसर विल ऑलवेज बी last y from x by 2 and x is that y divides x, right? लास्ट वाई तो इसके बीच में तो कोई नंबर क्यों डिवाइड करेगा उसको? चलो, स्मिथ ने पूरा पूरा हमें ये दे दिया नोट्स स्लैक पे. गुड. ओके, ठीक है यार, कल करते हैं हम लोग फिर. कल तो यार लीड कोड डिस्कशन करेंगे यूट्यूब पे. मतलब मैं करने को सभी चीज डिस्कशन कर सकता हूँ, बट देन आई थिंक सबको मौका देते हैं. ठीक, सब चीज मैं ही करूंगा तो बाकी लोग क्यों करेंगे कुछ चीज, है ना? ऐसा नहीं होता है. सब कुछ ऐसा नहीं है, सब और भी लोग अच्छे अच्छे कंटेंट बना रहे हैं. सो वॉच दैट. आई ट्राई टू पुट वट एवर आई फील इज रेलिवेंट. सबसे, और ऐसा कोई नहीं कि तुम्हें मुझसे ही सीखना है. देयर सो मच कंटेंट अराउंड ऑन यूट्यूब. सीखो यार अच्छे से. आई थिंक देयर इज सो मच टू लर्न. TD करके, CFFTD करके, ठीक है? कल का टास्क क्या रहेगा? I'll post by tonight. कल का टास्क एवरी डे आई पोस्ट इट. आई शेयर इट ऑन स्क्रीन, नो? लाइक एवरी डे एट नाइट आई विल शेयर विथ यू कि आज क्या करना है, ताकि तुम्हें कुछ कंफ्यूजन ना हो. यहाँ पर मैं जो लिखूंगा, वट एवर आई राइट ओवर हियर, टुडेज टारगेट डे 3 कंप्लीट करो एंड आज का लाइव क्लास अटेंड करो, ठीक है? इसके बाद और कुछ तुम्हें सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. क्लियर? मेल एट, कुछ भी इशू हो, मेल एट support@algozenit.com, ठीक है? देयर इज अ टीम टू हेल्प यू देयर. बिना मैं देखे कैसे बता सकता हूँ क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है? एट कोडर कॉन्टेस्ट डिस्कशन यूट्यूब पे सर्च करो, एट कोडर का नंबर कॉन्टेस्ट डिस्कशन. देयर विल गेट टन्स ऑफ वीडियोस. जरूरी नहीं ना हर चीज में ही पढ़ाओ, ठीक है? जो पर अभी हम कोड फोर्सेस पे ही फोकस करेंगे थोड़ा. अभी पढ़ाई पे फोकस करो. अभी क्वेश्चंस, अगर प्लेटफॉर्म के क्वेश्चंस बन गए जो डे तक हम चल रहे हैं तो फिर कर सकते हो, बट प्लेटफॉर्म फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी शुड बी दिस. This Discord is not, it's not Discord, it's a Slack, and like if you have taken the ICPSC camp, you will get it on mail, ठीक है? Joining link of that. मुझे नहीं पता यार, मुझसे सजेशंस मत लो कॉलेज के. आई एम नॉट द बेस्ट पर्सन टू टेक सजेशंस फॉर दैट. डिस्कॉर्ड नहीं है. टेलीग्राम लिंक है, वो तुम लोग देख सकते हो. किसी और वीडियो के नीचे देख लो जा करके. यूट्यूब वाले वीडियो जो एलसी डिस्कशन होता है उसके अपडेट्स में उस पर डालता हूँ. ठीक है. मेंटरिंग सेशन नेक्स्ट वीक से स्टार्ट हो जाएगी. इस वीकेंड नहीं, नेक्स्ट वीकेंड से स्टार्ट हो जाएगी मेंटरिंग सेशंस. ओके. किस चीज का चैनल नेम बताया मैंने? चैनल नेम कुछ नहीं यार. सो इफ यू वांट टू लर्न लैंग्वेज, राइट, सी प्लस प्लस के सारे सिंटैक्स तुम्हें एक बार ऐसे करके बिंज वॉच करना है. देयर इज अ चैनल कॉल्ड डायरेक्ट बानस करके, ठीक है, विच आई वॉच मोस्टली. कोई भी मुझे लैंग्वेज जल्दी से सीखना होता है तो आई जस्ट गो टू डायरेक्ट बानस करके एक चैनल है. उस पे लाइक सी प्लस प्लस इन वन वीडियो का तुम देखना, 1 घंटा 30 मिनट का वीडियो मिल जाएगा. आई जस्ट वॉच दैट. तो मुझे सारे सिंटैक्स एक बार दिख जाते हैं. उसके बाद मैं अपने से कोड सर्च करके कोड कर लेता हूँ कोई भी लैंग्वेज. भैया मेंटरिंग वन ऑन वन होगी ना? नहीं भाई, वन ऑन वन पॉसिबल ही नहीं है, इम्पॉसिबल है ये चीज. तो वन ऑन वन चीजें तो यार लाइक लाइक यार कैंप यार कैसे स्केल पे पॉसिबल है बताओ? इट्स इम्पॉसिबल टू डू दैट. मेंटरिंग तो वन ऑन वन पॉसिबल नहीं है. तो मुझे स्लैक पे पूछ लो मैसेज करके. दैट इज फाइन. फील फ्री टू मैसेज मी आउट ऑन स्लैक. वन ऑन वन मीट्स इन जनरल इज अ पार्ट ऑफ एजेड प्रीमियम. ठीक है. At least teach us how to become a good CEO. I think you should ask somebody who works under a good CEO. They'll be able to tell you what do they like about that person, and you will learn ki what should you replicate. That's what you should do. DP graph course यार, eventually I think that might not be possible at this point. देखते हैं. डीपी का तो यार वर्कशॉप डाल ही रखा है. ग्राफ का तो यार बहुत सारा कंटेंट उस पर डिपेंडेंसी है. अनलेस पूरा चीजें पर, आई थिंक प्रीमियम वुड बी अ गुड प्लेस टू टेक ऑल ऑफ दैट. बट इंडिपेंडेंटली यार उसका कोई सेंस ही नहीं बनेगा. मतलब मैं जब मैं पढ़ाता हूँ तो मैं बहुत अपने पुराने पढ़ाई चीजों को रेफरेंस लेता हूँ. सो इट डजंट मेक सेंस टू टीच अस दैट कि मैं उसमें बोल रहा हूँ कि यार हम लोग एक टेक्निक यूज कर रहे हैं जो हमने पहले पढ़ रखा है एसटीएल में. इट विल नॉट मेक सेंस एट ऑल. ठीक है. सर ज्वाइन ना कल में. यस. ठीक है. डिस्कॉर्ड. हाँ, यस, आई विल टेक क्लासेस ऑन जूम ओनली, ऑन प्लेटफॉर्म ओनली. अभी बस दिस फर्स्ट वीक इज ऑन यूट्यूब, 9 weeks इज ऑन जूम ओनली ऑन प्लेटफॉर्म. ठीक है. इज इट जून फर्स्ट वीक? इट वाज सपोज टू बी ऑन May लास्ट वीक, बट जून फर्स्ट वीक. डिफरेंट टारगेट. देखो दोनों सब किसी का टारगेट अलग अलग होता है. दैट इज मोर लाइक थोड़ा ऐसे कि वन ऑन वन मीट करना है विवेक आपके साथ, ये सब चीजें रहेगी. प्रोजेक्ट वगैरह सब चीजें बिल्ड करनी है एंड टू एंड. इट्स लाइक एंड टू एंड जो तुम्हें चाहिए ओएस क्रैक करने के लिए, कंपनीज क्रैक करने के लिए, प्रोजेक्ट जो जो चाहिए सब चीजें बनानी है, डेव सीखना है, सब चीजें एक ही जगह पे. इट्स लाइक वन स्टॉप सोल्यूशन फॉर दैट, राइट. प्रॉपर फ्रेमवर्क्स वगैरह हर टॉपिक का सीखना है. आईसीपीसी कैंपस सीएफ फोकस्ड, कोड फोर्सेस फोकस्ड. कि यार मेरे को सीएफ पे रेटिंग बूस्ट करना है, व्हाट डू आई नीड फॉर दैट विवेक, वो हम लोग पढ़ेंगे इसमें. सो एवरीथिंग हैज अ फोकस. विदाउट दैट करने को तो इस दुनिया में सब कुछ है. तुम एमएल भी कर लो, ये भी कर लो, सब कुछ कर लो, है ना. करने को तो बहुत कुछ है इस दुनिया में, बट फिर हो नहीं पाएगा फोकस कभी भी. I'll add in week 4 some videos from EZ Premium. You'll realize कि STL में भी हम थोड़े डेप्थ में ही जाते हैं. ठीक है. उसके लाइव क्लासेस बेसिकली. भैया क्या सिर्फ ग्राफ का नहीं यार, ये पॉसिबल नहीं है मोस्ट प्रोबेबली. मैं लास्ट टिप, मैथ्स कैसे इम्प्रूव करूं प्लीज दिस. कूपन कोड फ्रॉम प्रीमियम यार, आई थिंक लाइक जब आएगा तब मैं डाल दूंगा. मेरे पास मतलब मेरे पास भी आता है यार. देखो आई हैव मूव्ड आउट ऑफ ऑल ऑफ दिस नाउ. आई जस्ट टीच मोस्टली. मेरे पास भी कूपन कोड आएगा तो आई सेंड इट टू ऑल ऑफ यू. ठीक है. मैं डाल दूंगा स्लैक पे या लिंक्डइन पे कहीं पर. ठीक है. जब बैच लॉन्च होगा तब. अभी तो कुछ नहीं है एज फार एज आई नो. Why are you not taking about CA Code Chef? I have account on it and have क्योंकि Code Chef पे कर सकते हो, but the global standard, international standard is Code Forces for competitive programming. हाँ, मतलब प्रीमियम में तो आईसीपीसी कैंप इंक्लूडेड है ही इन जनरल मोस्टली. मतलब आईसीपीसी कैंप का जो कंटेंट है इट्स अ सबसेट एक्सेप्ट 3 weeks. हाँ, कोड फोर्सेस इज मच बेटर देन कोड शेफ. क्या चीज? क्या झूठ बोल रहा हूँ भाई मैं? अच्छा मैंने मतलब अभी मेरे पास सच में कुछ नहीं है यार, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. मैं ऐसे, तुम्हें ऐसा लग रहा है कि क्या मैं कूपन कोड नहीं देना चाहता, ऐसा कुछ होता है क्या? नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. लाइक देयर इज अ टीम व्हिच डिसाइड्स कि क्या होता है. मेल कर दो support@talgosanit पे, आई विल टेक केयर ऑफ इट. टू मेनी चीटर्स ऑन कोड शेफ. हाँ, कोड शेफ का रेटिंग का वो डायल्यूशन भी हो गया. सीएफए भी लोग करते हैं थोड़ा चीटिंग इधर उधर, बट फायदा नहीं है करके, एक्चुअल टेस्ट में नहीं बना पाओगे. नहीं नहीं, हो गया. क्लास का कंटेंट कंप्लीट है. सो नाउ यू कैन मे बी लीव. विल जस्ट डू सम चिट चैट फॉर 5 more minutes and then we will also wrap it up. मॉडल अरिथमेटिक बहुत पसंद करता है. आई विल टीच यू अ टेक्निक जिसके बाद तुम्हें मॉडल अरिथमेटिक करना प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा. नेक्स्ट वीक करेंगे उसके ऊपर, नेक्स्ट टू नेक्स्ट वीक करेंगे थोड़ा सा उसके ऊपर, मॉडल अरिथमेटिक के ऊपर. उसके बाद तुम्हें दिक्कत नहीं आएगी. एक रूल सिखा दूंगा, उसके बाद कभी गलती नहीं होगी. एज अ बिगिनर अभी अभी आईसीपीसी कर रहे हो तो बस दैट शुड बी गुड एनफ. प्रीमियम देखो यार, टारगेट समझो कि मुझे क्या करना है. मेरा अभी इवेंचुअल गोल क्या है इस समर्स का? क्या मेरा इसके बाद इंटर्नशिप प्लेसमेंट्स आ रहा है? इफ दैट इज द केस एंड मुझे ओएस के लिए क्रैक करना है, देन प्रीमियम इज फॉर यू. अगर मुझे सीएफ का रेटिंग बढ़ाना है, मैं फर्स्ट मतलब ऐसे इन जनरल सीपी में अच्छा बनना चाहता हूं, सो देन आईसीपीसी कैंप फर्स्ट. सबका टारगेट अलग है, तो टारगेट चूज करो अपना, देन अकॉर्डिंगली यू कैन डिसाइड. ठीक है. हाउ डू आई इंक्रीज? क्या चीज? सीएफ पे 3 क्वेश्चन ही बन पाते मैक्स. अभी सीखेंगे ना यार टेक्निक, अभी सीख तो रहे. इट्स पता है क्या, लाइक पीपल आस्क मी विवेक आप क्वेश्चन कैसे सॉल्व करते हो? मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम आई नो द टेक्निक दैट आई एम गोना यूज इन अ प्रॉब्लम बिकॉज आई हैव सीन दैट सेम टेक्निक बिफोर. तो इट्स अबाउट कलेक्टिंग सो मेनी टेक्निक्स, जितना तुम्हें पता हो, सो मेनी न्यू टेक्निक्स, एंड विल कवर ऑल दैट यू नीड टिल दैट लेवल. ठीक है. अपन ड्रिल सेशंस भी करेंगे सीएफ के, तो जो टेक्निक नहीं है वो भी आता रहेगा. नहीं, टेक्निक इज नहीं, कभी करेंगे, सिखाऊंगा ना. 3 रूल दे दूंगा, उस 3 रूल से सारे तुम्हारे एरर्स खत्म हो जाएंगे. ठीक है. कब मॉड लेना है, कब नहीं लेना है, ब्रैकेटिंग कहाँ से ठीक से करना है. ठीक है. उससे पूरा सॉल्व हो जाएगा. तो बिना बिना चीटिंग के भी रेटिंग बढ़ती है यार, अच्छे लोगों की बढ़ती है. ऐसा तुम्हें ऐसा लग रहा है कि हर कोई जो रेटिंग बड़ा चीटिंग करके कर रहा है क्या? नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. और वो लोग जाके बाद में इवेंचुअली अच्छा भी कर रहे हैं. Lead code is also good. If you are planning for OAs, lead code is fairly good practice. Lead code weekly is a good practice for online assessments, and that's why I like recommend it. In fact, it's even better practice than code forces. Code forces का अपना अलग purpose है, lead code का अपना अलग purpose है, but it's little better practice for OAs specifically. नहीं, सबका पहले मैं रखता था कुछ कुछ नोट्स, बट इवेंचुअली इतनी बार कर लिया हर टेक्निक 2-3 बार, तो उस फिर याद हो गया वो टेक्निक. टेक्निक्स तो यार लिमिटेड ही होंगे, टोटल 6-7 होंगे टोटल. और मैंने हर टेक्निक 2-3 बार कर लिया होगा, तो अब मुझे याद हो गया हर टेक्निक. मतलब मैं 600-700 टिल अ लेवल ऑफ 2100 बोल रहा हूँ. ठीक है. इतने ही टेक्निक्स है लिमिटेड, जिससे हर क्वेश्चन बन सकता है. कैन आई रीच एक्सपर्ट इन 3 months फ्रॉम 1000 रेटिंग? थोड़ा मुश्किल है. एक्सपर्ट पहुंचना थोड़ा हार्ड है, क्योंकि उसके बाद वहां पर डीपी ग्राफ आने लगता है. जहां डीपी ग्राफ का लाइक लगेगा ना, वहां पर थोड़ा हार्ड हो जाता है. मतलब उसके लिए मतलब डीपी ग्राफ ईच ऑफ इट, मतलब जब मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ तो मैं 3 वीक टाइप का 3-4 वीक टाइम लग जाता है उसको पढ़ने में, राइट. वो भी हर दिन, मतलब इतने सारे क्लासेस करे, इतने सॉल्व एग्जांपल्स देख रहे हैं, तब जाके उसका नुआंस क्लियर होता है कि हर नया प्रॉब्लम कैसे बने, राइट. ग्राफ तो चलो मैं आई एम कॉन्फिडेंट कि अगर मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ तो हर क्वेश्चन बन जाएगा. डीपी में ऐसा है कि लाइक इट्स सो मच ऑफ प्रैक्टिस यार, 50-100 प्रॉब्लम देखे बिना नहीं होता है, तो दैट इज समथिंग लाइक इट विल टेक टाइम, तो इसलिए एक्सपर्ट बना थोड़ा हार्डर है. ठीक है. ग्राफ डीपी तो यार हार्ड चीज है. नहीं होगा, कंटेक्स्ट नहीं बिल्ड हो पाएगा उसका यार. आई डोंट थिंक सो. डीपी एंड ग्राफ इज नॉट इन सिलेबस, मोस्ट प्रोबब्ली विल नॉट, विल स्टिक टू इट. हाँ, स्पेशलिस्ट एंड पीपल पहुंच जाओगे तुम, स्पेशलिस्ट पीपल पहुंच जाओगे बाय द कैंप इटसेल्फ. आई कुड नॉट क्रैक यार. बात करो यार लोगों से, देयर आर पीपल हु हैव डन प्रीटी वेल इवन विदाउट बीइंग इन टॉप कॉलेजेस. मेरे स्ट्रीम पे एक, मेरे यूट्यूब पे एक स्ट्रीम था कि यार हाउ टू क्रैक ऑफ कैंपस करके, उसमें मैंने स्ट्रीम में लोगों को बुलाया था. ऑल दीज फोक्स वर फ्रॉम टियर 3 कॉलेज ओनली. सब अभी अच्छे जगह पे, या और कुछ फिगर आउट कर रहे हैं अपने लाइफ में इवेंचुअली. टॉक टू पीपल कि व्हाट दे आर डूइंग. ओके, चलो लास्ट फ्यू क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस. Oh shit, I by mistake this. Hmm. What league is good for code forces if I'm attending this? हाँ, इन सब में यार डी शॉ थोड़ा हार्डर हो गया, बाकी सब में तो तुम स्पेशलिस्ट में ही कर लोगे मेरे ख्याल से, बट एक्सपर्ट इज अ गुड प्लेस टू बी इन. स्टूडेंट देखो, यस, अरे करेंगे करेंगे, हम प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, लास्ट वीक्स में प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, मिक्स प्रैक्टिस. बता दूंगा मैं रिसोर्सेज बता दूंगा डीपी ग्राफ के और भी बेटर का है. जैसे सीएससी इज अ गुड प्रैक्टिस फॉर ग्राफ्स इन जनरल. डीपी का जैसे देयर इज अ शीट व्हिच आई रिकमेंड, आई हैव पोस्टेड ऑन यूट्यूब, दैट इज आल्सो गुड. यू कैन डू सेल्फ प्रैक्टिस आल्सो, ऐसा नहीं है यार कि इट्स ओनली वे, बट दिस इज फेयरली गुड. अगर अगस्त में ही प्लेसमेंट है देन यस, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली देन यू डोंट हैव टाइम. देन यू डोंट हैव टाइम. अगर किसी का जुलाई अगस्त में प्लेसमेंट्स है, देन आई वुड हाईली रिकमेंड यू एजेड प्रीमियम. मतलब मैं देखो इन जनरल ऐसे बोलता भी नहीं हूँ कि कोर्सेज वगैरह लो, बट अगर है तो इट इज हाईली रिकमेंडेड. रीजन बीइंग कि उस पे जो टॉपिक्स पढ़ा जा रहा है दैट दे विल डायरेक्टली कम इन ओएस एंड सीएफ पे क्या ना, इट्स इवेंचुअल प्रैक्टिस थोड़ा सा कि लाइक इफेक्ट ट्रांसलेटरी होने में टाइम लगते हैं थोड़े से. वो मतलब यही क्वेश्चन आएगा सीधा सीधा, ऐसा सिंपल है. वैसे अपन लोग एक और कैंप सोच रहा हूँ मैं, कैंप नहीं, आई मीन एक्चुअली लाइक ग्रुप. लेट मी नो इफ यू गाइस थिंक अबाउट दिस. यार कल ही मेरे को किसी ने पूछा यार कि विवेक ओएस वगैरह में बहुत दिक्कत आ रही है, और ओएस से पता नहीं यार बहुत लाइक ये भी होता है कि यार इस कैंपस में आया, उस कैंपस में आया, उसका प्रैक्टिस करना है, इसका प्रैक्टिस करना है, सब चीजें होती है ना. तो आई वाज थिंकिंग ऑफ डूइंग अ स्मॉल लाइक ऐसे वर्कशॉप टाइप का विद इन जुलाई के टाइम पे, कि यार जहां भी कैंपस में जो भी क्वेश्चन आ रहा है डिस्कस करते हैं इस टाइप का एक छोटा सा. एंड उसको प्रॉब्लम मतलब प्रॉब्लम सेटर्स हायर करके विल बिल्ड इट ऑन प्लेटफॉर्म, एंड यू गाइस कैन प्रैक्टिस विद इन अ डे और टू. जहां भी किसी भी कैंपस में कोई टेस्ट हुआ है उसको प्रैक्टिस करके फट से सॉल्व करके उसका सॉल्यूशन देख सकते हो आराम से बैठ के, एंड यू कैन गेट प्रेप्ड. Maybe something like this, a separate workshop maybe. I'm thinking of this. मतलब अच्छा आइडिया लग रहा था मुझे, सोचते मतलब. Anyways, I hope you guys have नहीं, feel free to make an unofficial WhatsApp group if you guys want. ठीक है, अगर तुम लोग को बनाना है तो you guys can post an official WhatsApp group. एक ही कोई बनाना, ऐसे 50 मत बना लेना. But yeah, ideally मतलब हम लोग Slack पे रहेंगे. I would not join obviously. हाँ, मतलब पर वो ये कि आज टेस्ट हुआ, कल उसका सोल्यूशन चाहिए, तो वो होगा वर्कशॉप में प्रॉपर्ली. बेसिकली वही होता है ना कि इस कैंपस उस कैंपस में रिपीट हो जाता है. तो अपन प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं टेस्ट होने के बाद. चीटिंग तो नहीं कराऊंगा यार, मैं चीटिंग नहीं करेंगे. ये नहीं कि टेस्ट चल रहा है और मुझसे पूछ रहे हो विवेक इसका सोल्यूशन बता दो, ये सब तो नहीं होने वाला. फोरम पे भी आई हैव स्ट्रिक्टली लाइक टोल्ड टीएस कि कोई भी लाइक अनसोर्स्ड क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं करेगा. मतलब वी डोंट आंसर क्वेश्चंस दैट आर अनसोर्स्ड, कि सोर्स नहीं पता कहाँ से आया ये क्वेश्चन. ओएस के क्वेश्चंस का हम ऐसे आंसर नहीं करते. ठीक है, यस दिस शुड बी देयर. ओएस के लिए यार लीड कोड वीकली देना स्टार्ट करो. आई थिंक दैट इज वन गुड प्लेस टू स्टार्ट अभी के लिए. और हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे इवेंचुअली. सर टारगेट ऑफ बिल्डिंग सीपी रेटिंग इन माय प्लेसमेंट्स इन यस वर्क्स. Works. More problems from form and you explain in low ways of lead code this. करेंगे यार, यूट्यूब पे भी कुछ कुछ करेंगे, वो भी करेंगे. मैं ड्रिल सेशंस डालते रहता हूँ कभी कभी. Maybe we'll do some nuanced DZDP like specifically इन सब के ऊपर. हाँ, it will help you a lot. मैं गया था इसमें क्या नाम है MIT WPU में. सो वहाँ पे मैं स्टूडेंट्स से इंटरेक्ट कर रहा था. तो मतलब जो उनकी टीम थी उनसे डिस्कस करा, उनको कोर्सेज वगैरह दिखाया. तो हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि क्या करना है. तो फिर अब लाइक ऑल दोज फोक्स आर नाउ जॉइनिंग इन. दे लाइक कि चलो यार विवेक प्रॉपर्ली अब ट्रेन करते हैं. सो उस पे लाइक यू गाइस कैन वांट, इफ यू वांट यू कैन पुट इन रिक्वेस्ट कि यार विवेक वन ऑन वन एक थोड़ा मीट कर लेते हैं, विवेक रिज्यूमे थोड़ा हेल्प कर दो, ये सब चीजें, दोज थिंग्स आर पार्ट ऑफ प्रीमियम इन जनरल। वो थोड़ा मतलब ऐसा है कि विवेक मेरे को एकदम प्रॉपर मेंटरशिप चाहिए, वन ऑन वन टाइप का, थोड़ा क्लासेस कोहोर्ट में, बट लाइक वो ये कि 100 लोग के कोहोर्ट हो रहा है, एंड विवेक आपसे मुझे वन ऑन वन बातें करनी है, मुझे चीजें पूछनी है, रिज्यूमे डिस्कस करना है, दैट इज मोर फॉर दैट। ठीक है, हाँ यार आज के लिए बहुत हो गया यार, 10:30 बज गए, मैं भी थक गया हूँ। इनफैक्ट इफ यू गाइस डोंट नो, मैं खड़ा हूँ तब से, ठीक है। तो अब मैं जाता हूँ, अब मैं चिल करता हूँ थोड़ी देर, मैं भी खाना वाना खाता हूँ, तुम लोग भी जाओ यार, एंजॉय फॉर टुडे। विल गेट ऑन न्यू मीट एंड नेक्स्ट लिंक पे, नेक्स्ट ट्यूसडे विल मीट। टुमारो अभिषेक विल टेक, आई पोस्ट इट ऑन स्लैक। सो नेक्स्ट क्लास टुमारो है, बट इफ यू आर ऑन यूट्यूब ऑन माई चैनल तो नेक्स्ट क्लास इज ऑन ट्यूसडे। कल भी क्लास है, कल आई विल टेल यू व्हाट विल बी डिस्कस्ड एंड स्टफ। आई विल पोस्ट इट ओवरनाइट एंड मेल आ जाएगा तुम लोग को आज, ठीक है। भैया आईपीएल वर्सेस आईसीपीएससी का चला के दोनों देखो, क्या दिक्कत है, मतलब तुम क्या क्रिकेट ठीक है यार, मतलब देखते हो, बट एकदम हर सेकंड तुम्हें अटेंशन उधर थोड़ी चाहिए, कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग हो रहा है तो देखो थोड़ा उधर, बट बाकी टाइम पे थोड़ा इधर ही फोकस करो, बेटर। डिस्कॉर्ड नहीं, स्लैक है। What did you recommend if placement in this? Can you repeat? Is it premium? Premium. I recommend it. My college is in T3. I want to go off campus. हाँ, yes, it will help. Nice. चलो जी, this is the place where we'll wrap it up. Slack link you would have gotten on your mail. ठीक है? चलो जी, this is the place we'll wrap it up. Thanks for joining in. Bye everyone. Have a good night. Thanks for joining in again, and wish you a good coding journey forward. Wish you don't have a lot of bugs in your code. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट मीट पे मिलते हैं, फिर और डिस्कस करेंगे। बाय बाय। यस, इफ यू आर बिगिनर और प्लेसमेंट थोड़ा दूर है, इस साल इंटर्न है तो करो, अगर प्लेसमेंट अभी है तो मेरे ख्याल से लाइक कैंप इमीडिएटली मतलब हेल्प करेगा ही फॉर श्योर, लाइक सीएफ रेटिंग्स एंड स्टफ बूस्ट हो जाएंगे, लेवल बढ़ जाएगा, बट इमीडिएटली ओएस में हेल्प नहीं कर पाएगा, ठीक है। That's what my personal view is, because OS में ना थोड़ा सा लाइक ऐसा रहता है कि लाइक स्टैंडर्ड आइडियाज हर टॉपिक का फटाफट मुझे पता होना चाहिए, हर टेक्निक का, जैसे बिट्स में सपोज बिट मैनिपुलेशन टॉपिक है, राइट। अब बिट मैनिपुलेशन में मैंने अभी लास्ट वीक में पढ़ा था, बिट मैनिपुलेशन लास्ट बैच में, तो उसमें ऐसे क्या होता है कि देयर इज लाइक 3 लेवल्स, ठीक है। एक है कि तुम्हें बिट्स वो होता है जो सेट वेट अनसेट करना, बेसिक चीज है। फिर उसके बाद एक लेयर होता है कि यार यू हैव स्टैंडर्ड इंटरव्यू प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट, कि जॉर निकाल लो L2R के नंबर्स का, या ऐसे कुछ कुछ स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, ठीक है, बिट्स के, कि 2 नंबर मिसिंग है उसको पता करो, वगैरह वगैरह जो भी होता है। फिर उसके बाद एक लेवल आता है कि जो ओएज में आता है, एक 5 आइडिया है, ठीक है, साइक्लिसिटी ऑफ बिट्स, देन देयर इज बिट कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ एवरी पोजीशन, फिर हाईएस्ट टू लोएस्ट बिल्डिंग, ऐसे अलग अलग ऐसे 5 आइडियाज है। उसके बाहर तुम्हें सीएफ के एफ तक क्वेश्चन आ ही नहीं सकता, पॉसिबल ही नहीं है बनाना उसके अलावा क्वेश्चंस, ठीक है। तो वो जो एडवांस्ड आइडियाज है वो सब चीजें मतलब क्रिस्प करके पढ़ना, दैट इज व्हाट वी डू इन देयर, कि सारे फॉर्म्स जो पॉसिबल है इस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक के, वो सारे जान जाए अपन फटाफट, ठीक है। इंस्टेड ऑफ सॉल्विंग 100 प्रॉब्लम करके 5, मुझे उसके 4-5 अलग अलग जगह पे कहीं कुछ मिला थोड़ा बहुत करके, बट फिर भी लोग वो ब्लूप्रिंट एक्सट्रैक्ट नहीं कर पाते प्रॉब्लम से, दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम, कि मैं ये प्रॉब्लम तो कर लूंगा बट मेरे से नया प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो रहा है, दैट इज व्हाट वी ट्राई टू सॉल्व। ओके, बिट नीड्स परमुटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन, ये तो नहीं भाई, ऐसा तो ट्रू, ये तो मुझे नहीं लगता ये ट्रू है कुछ खास, बट ठीक है, हो सकता है मे बी, मैंने तो नहीं पढ़ा। 22 तो तब किया होता, तो तब तो हेल्प किया ही होगा तुम्हें, तब उस टाइम पे पूरे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करना चाहिए था। रिकैप के लिए कर सकते हो, बट मे बी इट विल अप टू यू, आई लीव दैट अप टू यू, एक बार मेल करके डिस्कस कर लो यार, आई थिंक दैट विल बी बेटर। चेंज हो गया करिकुलम वैसे थोड़ा, काफी हद तक उसमें ऐसे वो सब रहता है, ओएस वगैरह, नेटवर्क्स वगैरह, अभी 15 तारीख को पढ़ाना पड़ेगा वो भी मुझे, कुछ कुछ पार्ट्स उसके भी अभी स्टार्ट हो रही है, बूट कैंप टाइप का, कि यार समर्स में सबका मतलब वो प्रेप करना है, ओएस वगैरह, फिर इंटरव्यू के फ्रीक्वेंट क्वेश्चंस हो गए, फिर थोड़ा प्रोजेक्ट बिल्डिंग चाहिए, कि प्रोजेक्ट मुझे यूनिक प्रोजेक्ट चाहिए सीवी में, तो वो 1 महीने चलेगा, फिर मतलब वो थोड़ा ऐसे ग्रूमिंग टाइप का है कि यार प्रॉपर इंटर्न लगने, इंटर्न प्लेसमेंट लग जाए इस टाइप का. दैट्स अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ प्रैक्टिस. वो थोड़ा लेंदियर है यार, 4-5 महीने लगने का कोर्स है वो. तब तो प्रीमियम लेना चाहिए तुम्हें, फिर वापस नहीं किया है कुछ तो. प्रियांश को मैं मैसेज करता हूँ यार. I'll get a time from him. जब भी वो अवेलेबल होगा I'll message him today. अभी आई थिंक प्रियांश ऑल्सो वाज शिफ्टिंग टू बैंगलोर मोस्ट प्रोबेबली. मैसेज करता हूँ, मैंने देखा नहीं, बस मैंने स्टोरी देखा था. ठीक है चलो यार, आई थिंक दैट शुड बी देयर. काफी हद तक हो जाएंगे यार. विल सी. सम ऑफ बिटवाइज एंड सबसेट्स ऑफ सेट्स ऑफ नंबर्स, हाँ वो सब तो करा है, बट कॉम्बिनेट्रिक्स तो चाहिए. 2 to the power n, मतलब zor of all subsets and of all subsets, zor of all subarrays and of all subarrays, zor of all um, ये सब चीजें, अलग अलग आइडियाज बहुत सारे हैं. ठीक है, नोट करते बैठेंगे. ठीक है चलो यार, आई थिंक दिस शुड बी इट फॉर नाउ. हम लोग नेक्स्ट क्लास में मिलते हैं. इतने ज्यादा नाम मत जानो. मिलेंगे तो हम लोग और डिस्कस करेंगे. ठीक है, बाय एवरीवन, गुड नाइट. Yes, we will learn all these things.